a piece of me for my rock and roll. Number one devil's all around you. She's in control of your love, your life, her soul will blind you. If you feel the need for more, should be found again. To free your mind, feed your soul, and break your will again. Break your will again. Burn, baby, burn, save me from my sin. You got to spend them handed guns and try to save me again. Devil, white devil, gonna save my soul. Gonna keep a piece of me for my rock and roll. There's no time to change it. There's no rearranging. I don't wanna leave 'cause there's nowhere to go. No simple reason, no change of the season. Save my life from rock and roll.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Rikki rocks, Rikki rocks. It's Rikki Rocks, coming out of the box. Bitches come in flocks, trying to steal his jocks. He needs to be contained with padded rocks. It's the Rikki Rock Show, spreading like the pox. Rikki rocks, Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks, Rikki rocks, yeah. Rikki rocks, Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks, Rikki rocks, yeah. Rikki rocks up in your grill, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Echo.
That one's now that one. All right, here we are. Episode number 120 of the Rikki Rock Show right here on Roxx100.com. I'm Rikki Rocks, joined as always by Kevin, writing songs and slapping dongs Razlog.
Oh my God. What's up, Ricky?
Another wonderful week being dad.
Yeah,
Super dad.
You hosted a birthday party.
I was hosting a rager here. It went all night long.
I can't believe when you said how late they were up. I was like, I thought kids that age went to bed at like 10.
No. I was hosting a rager here. You know, it's a new thing I'm doing for the younger kids because they
were taking that Molly and whatever the fuck it's called nowadays.
Yeah, I was hoping. I'm like, oh God, hopefully they don't, because I had all my green screens like blocking this off. I'm like, oh God, hopefully they don't get back there and get in my beer or anything like that.
Oh Jesus.
You know, so
That's
yeah,
beer of the week. What the fuck?
Some 8-year-old girl drank my beer of the week. That's why she was throwing up everywhere. So yeah, it was a thing. We'll get into that in a little bit. Shout out to Sherry Claire. She's the one person watching.
Thank you, Sherry.
It's like I'm in a band. Just that one guy. Okay, play some music. So yeah, Sherry, how are you doing? Hopefully everything is good. Awesome show promoter, concert promoter out here in Detroit. Sherry Claire, she does stuff at the Bolero out in Royal Oak, I believe it is. Stuff out there. Simon's After Dark in Allen Park. She's one of the few remaining that will actually do a rock show at Simon's. So keeping the Simon's dream alive, Sherry Claire.
It's tough throwing shows there.
It is. It's tough throwing shows anywhere.
Well, yeah. That place is kind of especially tough. Not that it's a bad thing, but just getting people out there always seems to be pretty difficult. One of my most successful shows was doing that rap show, surprisingly.
Oh, geez.
And I wanted no part in it. He's like, oh, all you gotta do is show up and collect money, man.
Yeah, now that's all he does. He's like, oh shit, if Raz can make money doing this, anybody can.
It was really weird, like, coming from how rock and metal shows go, just like it seemed very weird. I mean, I had fun, I guess, but it was just different, way different.
Yeah.
Like they would have a DJ play for like 45 minutes and then the dude would go up and spit his rhymes for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
So
and they get paid for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like,
They get paid
shit,
for
I
that.
could fucking do that, write some retarded ass shit for like 30 seconds. Just give me a fire beat, man.
Give me some fire, bro.
I mean, I could try doing that mumble rap, just get really drunk and just for 40 seconds.
Dude,
Fuck you, pay me.
I could do that. I just go to Simon's and be like, yo, Kev.
Let me get hammered off the spit bucket.
Yeah, I'm just going to get hammered and then just find some kick-ass DJ to give me some fire. And then I'll just like talk. I'll be like one of those spoken word poets.
Oh my God.
But I'll say I'm a mumble rapper. So I'll be like, butterflies.
Rubbing your belly and shit.
Food. So
I want a Ricky Roxx burger.
All right, so we're gonna get into our nuts and bolts and our truths right off the. Let me move that. That don't look good. Nuts and bolts and our truths. This is the segment of the show where you guys, the Roxx 100 listeners, can send us a question about anything having to do with the music industry, relationship advice, how to be a drunken fool musician, still be a dad. I can answer your questions. Kevin, you can talk to him about home improvements. He knows all about home improvements and auto repair. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So this week we have a question about the music industry and recording an album. So this comes from Tommy out of Port Huron. He says, hey guys, I'm in a band and had a question about recording. We have been in a band for a couple of years and have about a dozen songs. None of us have ever recorded before, as we have been in cover and tribute bands for the last 5 or 6 years. We are in our mid-20s. My question is, what should we look for as far as recording, and how many songs should we record, and how do you weigh everything out with cost? Thanks. Kevin Razlog.
Oh, that's kind of a loaded one. I would start with, since none of them have actually recorded before, if you don't know how to play to a click, you're going to want to learn real fucking quick. Because that will dictate how much fucking money you end up spending recording.
Yeah. Or if you're just a punk band who wants to do it live.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked to Dakota last week. He's like, yeah, we just recorded it live. Everybody just fucking played the songs.
It depends where you go, though. So I guess that's like one of the added layers. Like,
and kind of depending on what kind of music you're doing.
Right. So I guess let's at least look at it from like the traditional standpoint of you're going in and you're recording the tracks like how you typically record them, not like everyone in one room kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would.
Right, so for a band that Tommy says he has never been recorded an album before, as you're watching their Wings game. So when you go into a studio for the first time, what's the setup? You know, what's going to take all the time? Because, you know, a band that's never recorded before would be like, oh, crap, a 10-hour block and it only costs X amount of money.
Right.
We can totally afford this and we can knock out our whole album in an hour.
Yeah. So, well, and that's why I said, you know, if you've never played to a click, like you definitely want to spend time on that beforehand. So generally, at least in my experience, we would go in, we would already know the BPMs, the beats per minute the song is going to be. And then we would literally have the guitar player just put a scratch track down with the click track. And that's what I would typically follow when I actually start recording my drum parts. So when you're going into recording, you got to think, okay, each individual person needs to be able to play to a fucking click, because if not, it's not going to go very well. Yeah. And that 10-hour block, like you could have the drummer nail it, the bass player nail it, and then the lead guitar player maybe fucking has a hard time, and then boom, next thing you know, that whole 10-hour block's done, and you haven't even gotten to vocals yet. So that shit can bite you in the ass really quick.
Yeah.
I would say go in, record one song just to like get used to how the whole process works. And then after that, you know, figure out, okay, we were able to nail one song and we still had a decent amount of time left over. Maybe you start working on, you know, oh, well, let's do a scratch track for these next two songs and then we'll get more time like at a later point. Would
you do it like that? You know, because this is a lot of, I've been in bands that have done this two different ways, where they will get, you know, a one day to do one song. And then I've done it other ways where it's like, okay, 10-hour block, we're going to try knocking out all 4 or all 5. As a band going in for the first time, I mean, I think you were kind of alluding to this, should they, pay all this money to get, maybe 3 or 4 days and just, go full bore, or should they do one song, take a break, do another song, take a break?
I would do one song. I mean, the first time I went and recorded, and I mean, I've been playing for quite a while, so it wasn't really difficult for me, but we did 2 songs over 2 days. I really, the first day, the first time I ran through the track, like I basically fucking nailed it. So I got kind of lucky in that sense. But if I were in any other band, like I would just go in with the idea of we're going to record one song. Just do the one day, get used to it. Because like you don't want to commit to a block of time and then have one person in the band just not be able to do it.
Right.
Like, oh, I just can't get the click part. That's kind of fucking important.
So would you say... I'm kind of watching the game upside down. Would you say, okay, because when you go into a studio for the first time, okay, no, don't put that there because I'm going to be like, all right, show's over. I'm watching a Red Wing game. Would you say, okay, because when you go in and record, most 9 times out of 10, they'll give you like a 10-hour block,
right?
And they're going to charge you.
It varies. I mean,
it varies.
Studio costs vary. That's another thing to take into consideration too. I mean, the first time you're recording, you don't need to go gung ho and go with like the most ritziest, nicest fucking studio you can find. If anything, I would go for a cheaper one just to get the initial rust or, just the unfamiliarity of it, out of your mind. And then after you go through it once or twice, the whole process becomes a lot easier.
And the other part of his question was, what should they look for? I'm assuming he meant recording studios. What should you look for in a recording studio when you're scouting the places out, when you're trying to decide on where you're going to go about doing this? What should you look at?
I'll tell you things to look out for. You're going to have studios wanting to sales pitch the living shit out of you and have you spend like 30 fucking grand on an EP when you don't really need to. So any studio that promises you, oh, we'll get you signed, we'll do this, and that, honestly, take it with a fucking grain of salt because most of the time that's like an added cost.
So in your experience, Steve Dave in the chat, he says that your camera's bouncing around a lot. I'm very heavy-handed, and Kevin's camera's on my side. So yeah, that's why it's
Thanks,
bouncing.
Rikki.
Yeah. So, when you're looking at pricing and all this for a new band out there, they're like, I don't know what's cheap. I don't know what, what's too much, what is, what I should be gunning for, so on kind of a generalized thing, where should a band first time out, first album, what should they look at spending?
Well, first of all, they should spend what they can afford. Now, don't go cheap as fuck. Honestly, for one track, and it's difficult too because if you already have a hookup with somebody, that one song might be cheaper. But I would just go in expecting to drop between $500 and $1,000 to do the recording, maybe mixing, because that's another thing. If they do mixing and mastering they can generally do it cheaper than if they send it out to somebody. So I would just say at the very least have at least $500, but $500 ain't gonna get you very far. That might get you the recording, and that's about it.
And you were talking about mixing and mastering and all that. If you don't know the difference between mixing and mastering and all this is Greek to you, it was all Greek to me when I first went in.
I mean, it still kind of is to me a little bit.
I'm like, well, what the hell's the difference between mixing and mastering? What's, don't they mix everything when they're recording us? Yes and no.
Right.
So when you record, they're pretty much just getting everything to sound good on its own.
And this is another thing to throw in. If you have someone that's a producer, or if somebody that's just pushing.
And they call those engineers.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you go in and record, okay, this is how it'll work. Me as a bass player. Okay. So the drums will be done and all this stuff. And there'll be that scratch track you were talking about with the guitar, like a guitar, which a scratch track is pretty much just roughly recorded just to have it there so you know where you're at.
Right.
It's not pro. It's not done. It's just, so you're not really.
It's in the name. It's a scratch track.
It's a scratch track. So, me as a bass player, I would go in and I'd have that drum. The drums be pretty much done at that point. There'll be the scratch track, the rough thing with the guitar. and maybe some scratch vocals or something like that, I'll go in there and I'll play my bass part. And the guitar players will do that, the singers will do it, and then everything's recorded. Okay, so it's at that point it's not mixed. Mixing comes in when you're like, okay, the drums are here, the cymbals are at this decibel volume, this level. I got to move the bass up here. I got to move the lead guitars up here, and I need to put the rhythms down here. I need to make sure the vocals are on top. Okay, so that's mixing. It's making sure everything sounds good.
And lines up, too.
Lines up. So, a horrible mix job, your bass will be too loud or too soft. Or
like cymbals, too. Like, I even saw it when Joe was like, some of the cymbals rang out a little bit, and he just like dragged it down to have it taper off. Yeah, shit like that.
All that goes into mixing, and some people will charge more for it, some people won't. And then mastering, for those who don't know what mastering is, that's when you have say you're coming out with an album, and you're getting all the songs to sound.
Everybody loves Ray Ray.
Oh shit! Scored again, huh?
Yep.
So mastering is like, say you have a collection of songs that you're gonna put out on an album. The bass sounds is at the same level throughout all of the songs. Your lead guitars at that same level across all the songs. Here's the best
and easiest way to look at it. Mastering makes it so when it's in your car, it sounds fucking awesome. That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, and in mastering, they'll make sure, that it's coming through all the speakers. When you go into a mastering suite,
they usually have incredibly expensive fucking speakers because they'll capture like the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Like it's like a movie theater. Like they make it like a fucking experience.
Yeah, when you're in the studio, when you're recording, there might be like 2 monitors that you're listening to it through, and it sounds fine. When you take it to a mastering spot, this is why I always encourage somebody to go outside the studio for mastering, because they have dedicated stuff made for mastering, in 5.1 surround sound and stuff like that, rather than just 2 monitors pointed right at you. They can do a lot more stuff like, make it sound like the sound's going around you and stuff like that. That's what mastering does. And, some would say, depending on who you go with, that's almost the most expensive part of the whole thing. If you go with somebody if you have a sound that you want to sound a certain way, and you want the guitar solos to circle around you when you're listening to it, panning and all this, it can cost a lot, So if you're like a punk band, it might just be easier to just have the guy at the studio master it. You're probably don't want a lot of special things going on.
Right.
But if you're doing like Pink Floyd or something like that, where you need, a guitar one over here, bass over here, and everything moving around, that's when it would probably behoove you to go to a specialized mastering professional. And, that can cost as much as $500-600 a song. Taking it to a mastering guy. So as far as recording, I hate to say this, but you can pretty much record anywhere.
Yeah.
You can record your shit anywhere. It's just going to come down to the mixing, where you're going to need somebody to do it and mix everything, and mastering. Those are skill sets. You can record a guitar on your laptop.
Well, there are certain limitations though too, like if you have more intricate shit like doing like bell to splash combos and shit, if you're not recording at a more well-established place that has like the technology and the mics and everything, you might lose a little bit of that effect.
Well, drums are a different beast because it's an acoustic instrument.
Right.
It's an acoustic instrument, so it's not like a bass guitar. Where
you plug it in,
and you don't have room noise. You don't have to worry about a toilet flushing or something like that.
Right.
Because I was talking to Kevin Wesley Williams, who works with LC Banks and all that. I was talking to him on one of his live streams, and they're coming out with a new album. And they recorded it all on their own, not in the studio, minus the drums. The drums were recorded in the studio. Everybody else recorded their parts at their own house because of COVID and all this shit.
Gotcha.
So guitars were done off site, but it's like guitars, you plug it into your computer, and the mixing guy, the engineer, as long as it's recorded good, he can do what he needs to do in the studio. Email him your shit. So, recording it doesn't have to be expensive unless you want it to be expensive. Right. Mixing.
But you do get what you pay for. You got to walk that fine line.
If you have a good setup and you want to do your guitars at home, and that's going to be cheaper, and you know what the hell you're doing, there's a way to save a couple bucks.
Well, and like if you're a metalcore band, I mean, most of the time they just program the drums.
There you go.
Which kind of always bothers me, but it's really obvious when you hear their program because the cymbals always sound like so digital.
Yeah.
They're like, and you just are like, man, that sounds like something on Nintendo.
Right.
Like the drums could sound authentic and real as shit, but then the cymbals will just sound really digital. But like, I get it. Like, especially if like you're in like a deathcore band and like the drummer's doing like the most insane like double bass shit. If you're recording it, I mean, you have two options. The copy and paste option where you miss fucking beats with your feet and the engineer just moves it over so it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Or you do 100 takes and wear the fuck out of yourself and then it sounds like shit.
Right.
Or you program it. So yeah, there's a lot of different avenues you can go when it comes to recording.
So to Tommy out there, it's a lot of information we threw your way. I mean, if you guys have, a recording setup, it's relatively easy to get, your stringed instruments recorded by yourself. If you want to go that route and save a couple bucks, just go to the studio and knock out the drums and the vocals and be like, we'll send you the guitar tracks and all this shit.
Another thing that's cool is like some studios will actually have really nice gear that you can use too.
Yeah.
And that actually helped us out because I think when George and Ede recorded, Todd was worried about his amp, something with it like going on the Fritz or something. And they had like a whole ton of shit. They're like, oh yeah, you can pick whichever one you want.
See, and this is another thing that, if you're recording and you have shit gear,
right?
Whenever I record my bass, I pretty much just plug my bass in and then they run it through amp simulators.
Yep.
They have all these computer programs that can make it sound like I'm going through a huge Ampeg or a small little thing. They can set all that up. So whenever I record bass, I'm just plugging right in. Guitars, 9 times out of 10, they'll plug it in too and run it through amp simulators, unless you have that stickler who wants to have that organic Marshall tube sound and all that shit. But so there's a lot of ways you can go. I mean, it just, at the end of the day, it depends on your budget. It depends on your skill set, on what you can do.
Have your
yourself.
drummer reskin his kit before he records too.
And new strings. Always put on new strings. So to Tommy out there in Poho, hopefully that helps a little bit. Anybody who's listening that wants to read, anybody who's might listen tomorrow or whenever they stumble on this, hopefully that helps you in your way to rock and roll stardom and eternal bankruptcy.
There you go.
So Kev, what's been going on this last week, man?
Just living the dream.
Band practice with Casting Shadows. Rikki wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was a breath of fresh air.
I basically wrote a song.
You did.
Which is kind of funny.
So take everybody through that, because they're probably thinking, wait, isn't he just one of those dumb drummers who just hits things? How did he write a song?
So like Jeff had a cool riff, but it sounded very similar to like a lot of like kind of stuff that we write. And it just sounded kind of generic, but like Danny transposed it a little bit differently. And I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm not a fucking guitar player, so this is what's so hilarious about it. But I basically helped structure and like, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and transition into something that should sound kind of like whatever, No,
take us through this, because everybody, we've all seen the videos of guitar players or singers talking to drummers.
Right.
Do a bit-a-bit-oo.
Yeah.
Or
it was the equivalent of that, but like on guitar.
So you're like, oh, so Danny, do something like a here, and Jeff do a here.
No, not quite, but I was like, so going out of that riff, I was like, okay, so like that little snare part, I was like, let's like throw a fucking breakdown in it. And I was like, Danny, just follow like my foot pattern. And I was like, da-dun, da-da-da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. And then like Jeff starts fucking playing it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that for like 2 measures, but then I'm going to do like a Matt Griner thing halfway through, and you can hear the double bass part.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay, I'll like throw some guitar badass shit on it. And it sounded cool.
Yeah.
And then that's when we were like, okay, after that, like Jeff's riff, we can like turn into like a chorus. So like I said, I kind of helped dictate the structure of the song. So it was quite interesting.
Look at Kevin. Book the cruise. Cash those royalty checks. Main songwriter, Kevin Razlog. So what else have you been going on other than writing hit records?
Jesus Christ. Oh, just finally got to utilize our fireplace at the house, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I was telling you off air.
Did you have like a nice romantic dinner and do something like that? Or did you just like pyro and shit like that? Let's burn stuff.
Oh my God, no. No, we had it cleaned and like inspected and shit like earlier in the year. So I was like, oh, it's getting cold. Can't wait to bust that bitch out. And then, of course, it's like really finally getting cold and it's rainy as shit. And I'm like, I'd really like to utilize that fireplace. Yeah. So I went out and bought a rack and like all the pokers and all that shit. And like Steph was like, I never had a fireplace when I grew up. I wasn't rich like you.
We had a burn barrel. All right, so you had the fire going, so set the mood. You have this fire going. Okay, I'm assuming you turn the lights down. You're like, oh, it's getting cold in here. We should get under the blankets naked or something like that. So you get under the blankets and all that.
And then I had to come here to do the show.
Yeah, you probably mid-joint or something like that, watching The Office, and fire blazing. And then 6 o'clock rolls around. You're like, all right, babe, cock blocking you. I got to go do my radio show in front of a whole 3 people. Hang out with Rikki.
I like your situation and story better, so we'll go with that one.
So what was it really? Did it heat the house, or did it smell like a fucking bonfire in your house?
It didn't smell like a bonfire, but it definitely added a little bit of a nature-y smell, I guess. But yeah, no, we had the glass doors open and shit, and there's like this like grate that goes in front of it, so like the cats and shit doesn't like fly out of it or whatever. But yeah, you could.
So cats don't.
No, so the cats don't jump into it.
You think your cats are in this fire?
You never know, man.
Hey.
My parents' cat he would always put his head over the candles and it would burn off his whiskers and shit.
It's a fire and a meal.
You're ridiculous.
Hey, babe, barbecue tonight.
Oh my god.
No.
That's terrible.
Not into that authentic Japanese food.
Oh,
don't they eat cats and dogs and shit over there?
I mean, anywhere you go over in the world, you could probably find some fucked up shit. But yeah, those like wet markets over in like China and shit. They eat some
Wuhan.
Yeah, they eat some weird, crazy shit.
Yeah. All right.
Not my cup of tea.
So it wasn't like a romantic thing you were trying to do? Like, hey, let's get
No,
this
if anything,
fireplace
it was like I was like Paul Bunyan. I should have had a fucking flannel and like a goddamn axe and be like, here you go, babe.
So fire, you got that going. Writing hits for Casting Shadows. Rikki wasn't there because...
Oh, and then George and Need had a group Zoom call today to formulate our plan for, moving forward. So.
Oh, can we let any of the fans, the Legion of George and Need featuring Razlog Kevin as Mary Galvanting Gormandizers?
So we're still on the hunt for a guitar player, obviously. We have something kind of in the works, but yeah, I saw that. It's tricky because this point where the band is at, it's really easy to just say, oh, we're gonna put everything on hold till we find a guitar player.
Right.
I've been in bands where that happens, and it's kind of actually normal. But we already have 3 songs recorded, so I was like, well, while we're looking for, another guitar player, let's try shooting a music video or 2 for 1 or 2 of these songs. And we still have 5 other songs that we need to record.
Don't you have more music videos? Didn't you do like a slew of these like a year or 2 ago?
No, that was the goal and the plan, but so many. This is why I'm bringing this up, because even when you have a plan and it doesn't doesn't follow it, at least you'll have something. Like if we would have gone in and only said, let's do 1 video and then no videos happen, I've had that situation happen. But so I was like, we got, 2 other songs, let's record 2 videos. And then we got like 4 or 5 other songs, and I was like, let's get Todd to record them because he wrote them, and like we'll just pay for the fucking studio time. So we got to have that conversation with him, and hopefully he'll do it. Because it's like, why you get to record the shit you wrote for free, why not? So I have a feeling he'll be cool with it. And
so you guys still writing and all that? Where are you guys at as far as a band these days?
Okay, well, that's basically what I was explaining is like we want to get as much content with the shit that we wrote with Todd done and releasable as possible while we're looking for another guitar player.
Right.
So then we can amply promote and do all that shit, and then we don't have to wait for the guitar player to get up to speed. Like, we can even focus on writing new shit with that guy after the shit's recorded and we're doing music videos for the other songs. So it's just like there's 5 fucking things that we have to constantly be working on and chipping away at.
Right.
And it's really easy to let those kind of slip because it's like, okay, well, we got to focus on getting a guitar player. Well, what about the photo shoot? What about the music video? What about this? So it can get kind of tough at times, but...
So are you guys actively auditioning right now? Or is it just kind of like talking about auditioning people right now?
I mean, I've got 2 people that I've talked to and sent music to. Right now, I think we're just going to kind of wait to see what happens with that, but actively focus on hitting up Jorg to see if he'll do another video, figure out if Todd can do the recording. So we're constantly working on moving forward with different shit. So it just, hopefully all the dominoes fall into place at the right time.
Right. Yeah, I'm social media-ing right now, trying to get more people to listen to this goddamn show. So, yeah. So, Georgia Need, I kind of missed a lot of it because I was social media-ing. But, so anybody that's out there listening, do me a favor, share the link. I'll even copy the link and throw it in the chat and all that. Make sure you subscribe. We are 1 subscriber away from 100.
Oh, shit.
So, shout out to James
Wayne Gretzky.
God. We need number 100 so we don't do this hockey player thing anymore. So yeah, James Trunco from Dead and Five, we played them at the top of the show, was number 99. And speaking of Dead and Five, let me throw this one out there. October 30th, that is this Saturday, New Dodge Lounge, Dead and Five, Fly Parade at Half-Life, and the debut of Black Swan Dive Bomb, who just released their video.
You got the name right.
I did because
Nose Dive, Swan, Black Dive.
Because I was reading it. So that's going to be going down. Den 5 Fly Parade, Half-Life, and Black Swan Dive Bomb at the New Dodge Lounge. $10 at the door. I'm going to be hosting that one. So definitely come on out. They're going to be giving away Lucky Monkey Tattoo. No score. Giving away Lucky Monkey Tattoo gift cards and all that stuff. And I'm going to be hosting that one. It's going to be definitely a fun time. So head on out.
So Ricky's basically going to blow his fucking voice out.
Well, it's not a heavy metal show. So, and I got to go as Count Rikki Rockulus. I'm going to try to do
Count Rikki Rockulus.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm going to try emceeing the whole show. Like, I am Rikki Roxx.
Oh my God.
Roxx 100. I'm going to try doing it, but a couple drinks in, I'm going to probably ditch that idea. But.
Are you going to have like the fake fangs and everything?
No.
I want to rock your blood.
No, I bought like a cape, and I think I'm just going to do a little bit more heavy white
makeup. Do they
makeup.
get a cane or anything?
No.
You can poke people and whack them and shit?
No.
Be the old man?
No. Like,
get off my show.
Dana from Dead and Five's like, hey, you need to dress up too. You're going to be Count Rikki Rockula. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. I'm not spending a lot of money on this. So I kind of just went to Halloween USA and bought like a cape for $7. And that's pretty much the extent of it. And I'm like, maybe I'll do a little bit more makeup, but that's going to be pretty much it. So yeah, this weekend in the Roxx household, like I alluded to earlier, Roxx 100, we sponsored 2 shows over the weekend, and I caught a lot of flack for not going to either of them. Okay, so there's 2 shows going on at Diesel. Ari Lehman, the original Jason from the movies, he was playing with his band. He's got a band called First Jason. How clever and original. So they were playing over at Diesel, and then last night was Prowess and Wild Street and a whole bunch of killer rock bands. And I got a lot of shit. I did get a lot of shit on social media. What was it this morning? I was going through my messages and all that, and be like, "Oh, so you're just going to promote the shows and not even show up? You think you're high and mighty, kind of thing."
Okay, hold the phone.
Yeah.
Before anybody can fucking come at you with that, how many shows do they go to where they're not performing?
Right.
Because if you don't go to like literally like a handful of shows every month, like you have no room to fucking talk.
Well, it was just like, when I had to explain, the dynamics of this, I'm like, look, I'm going to be completely honest. We were paid. Roxx 100 was paid a certain amount of money to promote the shows on our social medias and all that. I never said I was going to be there. I'm not hosting it. If I had the spare money, yeah, I probably would have showed up. It's 5 minutes away.
$5, I'll give you ZJ. That was in Ricky's contract. It was like, this is for social media only. If you want the Rikki Roxx effect, add a couple more zeros to it.
Yeah. On the other
but I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, for instance, Riff, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe that's a bad example, but like, do the people that actually like talk about the shows and shit, are they there? Like, oh no, they have like little lackeys that are their interns there. You know what I mean?
You know,
we can't afford that yet.
You know, this is how, you know.
So suck on it.
So this is some radio knowledge for you guys. You know, when you're listening to whatever radio station it is, your big rock station, country station, hip hop station, yada, yada, yada. You know, you hear the shows, most, the big ones, yeah, they'll be at. Like if Pearl Jam's coming to town, they'll probably send some yucko out there to show up under the tent.
But if you were on the riff, Rikki Roxx probably wouldn't be at every single one of the shows they fucking promote.
If they're going to pay me, I would be.
Well, that's the whole point.
It's like radio shows and radio stations are paid to promote those shows, you know. So like if I was doing a show, you know, Rikki Roxx and the Rockstars, I could pay X amount of dollars to have a commercial thrown on whatever radio station. Does that mean somebody at that radio station is going to show up? No. I'm paying for promotion and all that. So I got paid X amount of dollars and to promote these shows. It wasn't a lot, you know, it was actually very little, you know, but
it's like using Windows and expecting Bill Gates to come to your house.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the amount I was paid, I couldn't even pay to get in the door.
Right.
You know, so I just spent that money on promo, like sponsored ads and shit like that. That's what they were paid for. And people are like, oh, Rikki, you're promoting these shows. You're not even going to show up, fucking rock star. And I'm like, look, I don't have to go unless
So here's another one to throw.
What if I'm getting paid to go?
What if you were promoting 4 shows that were all on the same night? Are you expected to go to all 4 shows?
Well, and this is the thing. And
Rikki Roxx can't be at 4 places at once until his clones are ready.
And this is totally truthful. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know, and everybody out there who's listening or who may listen, and yeah, I might be a sellout, but there's been plenty of shows that I've hosted that if I wasn't hosting and I wasn't paid to be there, I wouldn't be there. You know, I'm doing a job,
right?
You know, if somebody wants to pay me to come out and host a show, yes, of course I will be there, and I will gladly take your money and put it into Roxx 100. I don't spend it on my bar tab, you know, that comes out of my pocket if I want to be a dumbass. But you know,
until Rikki gets a rider, then the floodgates will open.
You know, I get paid to do a thing. You know, sometimes promoters will pay me just do social media, put on your social media and do a sponsored ad or whatever. Here's the money for it. And just do that. Get it out to your listeners or whatever. Put it on the show. And, you know, that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to be there. I understand if you can't, you know, 2 days in a row. That's a big ask, you know. And so I'm like, oh, well, I can't afford to get in the door because I ain't got a fucking job. And I charged you very little to promote the shows, not even enough to pay the door fee,
right?
You know, so yeah, I wasn't there. I got a lot of shit. And so hopefully you guys listening kind of understand how that works. You know, I don't do shit for free unless I'm playing in a band. You know, when I'm playing in casting shows, yes, I do that for free. I don't get paid shit to play in casting shows. But Rikki Roxx as the MC, you know, I used to do it for free. Now I don't like doing it. So if I'm going to do it, there's got to be some tendies latched on to that, you know, whether that be you give me X amount of money or you pay my bar tab, you know, so it's a thing.
Always opt out of the bar tab. He can rack that up real quick.
Oh, I can. You know, I got a couple people.
You've only been here 10 minutes and you're already at $200. Yep.
So in the chat, you know, let me know if, you know, that makes me a sellout or a horrible person. I'm kind of curious because I'm, you know, I go at it as a business guy. You know, I kind of made myself into a shitty little local brand and, you know, I get paid shitty little dollars to do it. So,
I mean, the thing that blows my mind about that is that most of the times that people say that, those tend to be the same people that will spend like $300 or $400 to go see like Kid Rock or Eminem, but they won't spend fucking $5 or $10 to go see, you know, whoever at like Simon's or whatever. Well, like to be completely honest, like the number of shows you and I have thrown where like literally not a single fucking band promotes, like none of our friends come out, like those people can fuck right off. You know, if they're going to call you a sellout, that's some bullshit.
You know, and thinking on the, you know, because I try to look at it from both sides. From their side, I get the frustration that I wasn't there.
Have them do your job for a fucking week and then come talk to us.
I can appreciate where they're coming from. You know, it's the, Rikki, your whole thing is supporting local music and you're promoting 2 shows that you're not supporting.
You did what you were obligated to financially paid.
Yeah.
Anything else was just a pipe dream of them hoping maybe Rikki Roxx will show up.
Well, and I guess that's kind of a testament. I guess there were a couple people there that wanted to hang out, and I wasn't there, and they were kind of butthurt about it, you know. So I'm like, well, I did my job. I shuttled a couple people over to the show, you know, and with how much it was to get in, they paid for their sponsorship times 2. So it was a thing, you know. I try to make it out the shows. We gotta get you
a stunt double.
Hey, Kev, you want a job? That would be interesting. You started showing up to shows, be like, hey, I'm Rikki Roxx.
Have
like,
a fake beard and...
No, just show up just like you are. Just be like, yeah, I'm Rikki Roxx. Be like, wow. And see how many people actually fall for it. And then they send me a text and like, dude, Rikki.
So you do realize that means I'm going to need your ID and your credit card.
My ID doesn't have Rikki Roxx on it. My credit card doesn't have my name on
Shit.
it. Come on, Kevin.
I thought you legally got your shit changed.
So, and the reason I wasn't at that show yesterday, you know, which I wanted to get into because we got to get into the pump it or dump it stuff, is because it was my daughter's birthday. A whole bunch of screaming 8-year-olds down here partying. And
I mean, if people can't, you know, understand sometimes family happens.
That's shit I don't throw a lot on my social media.
Yeah, but still, like, anyone that knows you fucking have kids, dude. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
So it was a thing, and, you know, so total dad mode.
And you've talked about on air about murdering one of your children, so...
he was actually pretty good this weekend.
Okay.
I haven't had to watch him.
So less murderous rampage, Rikki.
No murder. So if you're in the chat, actually say something. Steve Dave, he's been in there. Chris Tucker she just gave me a hey guys, and Steve Dave, let's go Lions. Surprised we're not watching the Lions game. Matt Stafford.
Watch football, man.
Okay. So
didn't we trade that fucking loser?
Yeah, we're playing him today.
Oh, watch, we're gonna get smoked by him.
Yeah,
he's gonna like single-handedly Hail Mary it to himself for like a touchdown, and then he'll kick the extra point.
Yeah,
I know how to foosball.
All right, so we're gonna get into our Pump It or Dumb Band of the Week because we're coming up on the 8:00 hour pretty quick, and we still have Beer of the Week, and which I found out is our least popular segment, and people hate the Beer of the Week segment. So we're gonna make those short. So this week, our Pump It or Dumb Band of the Week is a band out of South Wales in the UK called the Autumn Killers. If you are into modern rock, 80s rock, 3-piece bands, and synth rock, you might be into this band. They have a new album out, a new 12-song album out called Darkside, which they released this year on Skyfire Records. We're going to play their track 1 of 5. Facebook.com/The Autumn Killers or theautumnkillers.uk. A whole bunch of info on these guys. It's a lot to read. I just cut and pasted, and now looking down at it, I'm like, I can't read all this. But the Autumn Killers were formed in 2019 by Bob Reese and Duncan Richardson. They released their debut EP in 2020, and like I said, their new album, Darkside, 12-song album, just released. Last week, we had Poor Little Things out of Bern, Switzerland, and their song Fired Up. It received 3 votes. 3 votes, and this was
Trace votes.
This was a thing that really kind of irked me. I mean, they were like hitting me up, like, thank you so much for playing us and all this, and thank you, yada yada yada.
I would have said thank you for not promoting the fucking shit out of it.
And I was like, oh man, they seem like really cool people. Didn't promote it, so I'm like, ugh. So it kind of sucked. So we're going to play their video for 1 of 5 right now. And if you like it, head on over to Facebook.com/Roxx100. Give it the thumbs up. If you dig it, give it the... If you didn't dig it so much. And on the personal vindictive front, Roxx100 is a mere 6 likes away from surpassing Cave Radio as far as likes. So spread the word on Facebook.com/Roxx100.
Okay, so for all of you listeners, Rikki is like... super petty.
Oh yeah,
like
horribly
if petty. You couldn't tell the fact that I did if I did a Cave Radio show, Rikki was going to be butthurt regardless. But the fact that it was on a Sunday of all holy days on Rikki's schedule,
yeah,
and to boot, it was during this show, Rikki was extra fucking spiteful.
Yeah.
So if you could give us a like and subscribe. Otherwise, Rikki is going to be super butthurt for the immediate future.
I literally, like, every couple days, once I see a lot more, once I get a group of people that have liked Roxx100, I'll go look and be like, ooh, how close am I?
I was contemplating wearing my Roxx100 shirt at that show.
I should have made that part of your contract.
But I was like, I don't know if that might be a dick move.
cares? All right.
I've worn it at other shows, so I'm promoting.
Okay. So we're
I
going
wore
to
it at Lapeer Days, man.
play. Okay. Well,
There's like thousands of people there.
appreciate that. That's totally cool. At least you didn't play under the gondola in Roseville for Battle of Bands. All right. So we're going to play
That we
the
lost.
We lost.
To a cover band.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're going to play the Autumn Killers.
Salt in the wound. Twist the dagger.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Oh yeah, Ken Kenneth from Connecticut. All right, so we're gonna play the Autumn Killers and their song "One of Five." One of Five. One. We're gonna have to listen to the song to find out.
Oh Jesus!
Off
Rikki.
their Dark Side.
Lose that voice, Jesus Christ.
Off their Darkside album on Skyfire Records out in this year.
We're losing listeners. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Ken Kenneth from Connecticut. So here it is, the Autumn Killers. One of Five on episode number 120 of the Rikki Rock Show on Roxx 100men.com.
Do you ever really, really want to change your life? Or close your eyes and say goodnight? Does it all seem like a dream? Chained to a computer screen. Behind the mask you go outside. Paranoid, but the air seems right. All I need is a merry-go-round. But my feet are on the ground. Do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, save me. Do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, save me. Conspiracy theories all around. The scientists, they speak so loud. Who really knows the truth? We all have someone to lose. Will sanity show its face on these dark clouds the world makes? Will we learn from our mistakes? Or will the world go up in flames? Do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, save me. Do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, save me. Do you wanna be the one of five? Do you wanna be the one alive? Save me, save me.
All right. There it is. The Autumn Killers out of South Wales, United Kingdom, and their song One of Five off their brand new Darkside album, 12-song album released this year on Skyfire Records. Head on over to Spotify. You can check all that out. Kevin, what'd you think?
Dude, that was actually a really good song. Super catchy. I liked the electronic element to it kind of was like Halloweenish, so it fits in with the time of the year. But no, overall the song was really good, really catchy, really well put together, recorded. All the levels were really solid.
Good mixing and mastering.
Yeah, no, for real. Like it was a really good fucking song. I enjoyed it.
All right.
I would definitely give it a like.
All right. So if you want to give it a like Kevin Razlog, head on over to facebook.com/Roxx100. Be like Razlog. Give it a thumbs up if you dug it. Give it the face if
you're giving it a you need to check your life choices.
Wow, look at that. And while you're over there on facebook.com/Roxx100, make sure you share it and like it if you haven't yet. Like I said before the break, we are a mere 6 likes away from a personal vindictive goal of mine. So super cool. And so now we're getting into...
Ricky's tombstone is literally going to say, I have X number of more likes than Cave Radio.
Love those guys, but it's just like a little
no, it's healthy competition.
Yeah,
because we're literally promoting them by you shit talking them. So.
I know. I'm not shit talking them. They're
okay. You're just being a shitty dick.
I'm just being a petty dick.
A petty dick.
That's all I'm being. So yeah, this is coming up now is one of my favorite segments, but from what people are saying on Facebook, it's their least favorite segment of the entire show. That's right. It is time for Beer of the Week. Beer of the Week. I should get the drop working again. This week, we have a brew from Big Lake Brewing out of Holland, Michigan. This is the Captain's Vanilla Porter. Let me show it in the camera.
Hey, the numbers went up as soon as you said Beer of the Week. So.
Well, I think it's because we're going to have a Suzanne from MAGG DYLAN in a little bit. Captain's Vanilla Porter from Big Lake Brewing. This is a 6.5 ABV, 25 IBU American Imperial Porter. I picked this up for $17.49 for 4 1-pint cans from B&B Beer and Wine in Chesterfield, Michigan. You want to get through a segment that nobody likes? Head on over to B&B Beer and Wine. You'll get through it just fine. So, quick description on this one. This style of beer is generally offers a dark malt-forward body with flavor and aroma of caramel and chocolate with balanced hop presence. Relatively high alcohol content is to be expected. Untappd.com gave this a 7.6 out of 10. Kevin Razlog, what are you thinking of Big Lake Brewing's Captain's Vanilla Porter?
It's good. This is normally the kind of beer that I would not necessarily like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like it. And the fact that you said high octane alcohol content's a nice added plus.
Well, 6.5, so.
Well, it's better than fucking the champagne of beer, so. I'd go like an 8.5. I think it's pretty solid. I would definitely drink it. The price is a little hefty for my liking, but yeah, no, it's good stuff.
What would your ideal price point for this one be?
I would say honestly in the like $10 to $12 range. Like that may sound kind of lame, but I don't know. Spending close to $20 on 4 beers, like it's good, but it's not like wowing the shit out of me. So, but it goes down smooth, so no complaints. You paid for it, not me.
I'm trying to get MAGG DYLAN's music video queued up here. Yeah, to me, this one, I've never been a huge fan of porters, just because to me they kind of taste like pennies to me.
Oh my God.
Like very kind of coppery. But this one,
I could picture you late night, hammered as shit, going off on broadcast when you're drunk as fuck, and just pennies in your mouth.
Yeah. Jeez.
Tastes like pennies.
But yeah, with this one, you definitely get, there's a little bit of that hop flavor to it.
See, I didn't really get that.
It's in there. I
get a lot of the caramel. Which is actually nice. I actually like it.
That is the overwhelming taste profile in this one, is the caramel and kind of like I say, when there's that chocolate thing in there, it's kind of like the cooking chocolate, kind of like dry, bitter chocolate. You kind of get those two flavors in there. There is a little bit of a hop thing in there, and which kind of gives it a deeper profile. But as for what I'd give this one on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go an average 7. It's definitely good for a porter, and you do have a little bit of that vanilla taste in there as well, and it's a pretty run of the mill, vanilla porter. A lot of breweries make vanilla porters. Some are horrible. I've never had a blown mind vanilla porter in my life, that blows my mind, and I need to buy a pallet of them,
I need a pallet of your best porter.
And this one is, right there with, a respectable vanilla porter. Like Kevin said, the price point is a little obscene, seeing as this comes from Holland, Michigan, which is a couple hours away.
These are Biden prices.
So, unless this is like a limited run beer or something like that, maybe that's why the price point is a little bit high.
I do at least like the advertising, and the graphics on the can are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's I'd pay $12 for this one, 17.
So I was pretty close in the 10 to 12.
Yeah, at after tax, looking at $18 and some change.
And I mean, you can't even return those for the 40 cents you'd get.
Oh, you can't?
Oh no, some of these craft ones, most of them don't take them.
Oh, well, it says on the can I can. So,
just drive over state lines. No one will know.
So after all that, looking at $18 for 4 1-pint cans of these, it's a little on the expensive end. That might.
Tokens more expensive.
We're not paying $100 for this 4-pack. So yeah, I'm going to go a 7, which is pretty much right around where Untapped was. Kevin goes 8.5, so it's a respectable vanilla porter. So that is this week's Beer of the Week. We won't bug you anymore with Beer of the Week this week. We're going to make it nice and short. Make it nice and short, and we're going to gear up for Suzanne De Lulio. We're going to be talking to in a few minutes from MAGG DYLAN. We're going to play their song Pawns. We play with these guys at Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Blue Ridge.
Anything Rikki can do to be like, hey, I played Blue Ridge. He's going to throw it out there.
Yeah, well, you could say we opened for MAGG DYLAN because they played right after us on, I can't remember the name of the stage.
The Heart Support stage.
The Heart Support stage. And,
Jake Lur's Foundation.
Who?
The singer from August Burns Red.
Well, you're like Jigglers.
Jake Lurs.
Oh,
his last name is Lurs.
I was like, who's Jigglers?
Oh my God, Jigglers! I guess it kind of sounded like that. Yeah,
Jigglers.
Jigglers.
So we're going to talk about Blue Ridge. We're going to talk about all that. Blue Ridge. If you missed
see if
that,
they shat in Papa Roach's bathrooms, because we didn't.
I wanted to, but then Jacoby Shags and Papa Roach went in there, so I couldn't.
Rikki wanted to upper deck them.
I should have.
Just so he could tweet them.
Man, that could have been my last resort.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Damn. Savage. I think you could do it in this whole rap thing now that I think about it.
God, it would be horrible. All right, so we're going to play MAGG DYLAN Pawns, and then we're going to get Suzanne on the line, talk to her via Zoom, so we're going to get to see her.
Are we going to play 1 or 2 songs?
Do you want me to play 2?
Yeah, let's play 2.
All right, what would you like me to play?
Let's play something, not them, and then follow it up with them.
Okay, like who?
I have no fucking clue.
Oh, Jesus, you want a cigarette and tune back into the hockey game for a minute.
How did you know?
Because I know.
Because I know.
Because I know. All right.
Play Cougaran.
Cougaran. Okay, we can play some Cougaran. And let me just...
I was trying to find something that's not like a band that I've worked with, because you're like, oh, Raz, you always pick the same bands over and over and over. Ava, Ingos, fucking It Lies Within, or Life, whatever.
Life Right Now?
Life Right Now.
Wow.
I was trying to think of other bands to keep going over, but
okay. So we're gonna play some Cougaran right here, and then we'll play MAGG DYLAN Pawns. Then we'll bring in Suzanne De Lulio,
and then
we'll talk. And then we'll end the show, and I'm gonna go to bed.
And then
I'll wake
no
up.
more. And then
okay. So here's some Cougaran, Urban Jungle. They played the Token Lounge this last weekend, and from all I've heard, it was a great show. Awesome guys. So here's some Cougaran, Urban Jungle, and then we're going to follow that up with the video for Pawns by MAGG DYLAN right here on episode number 120 of the Rikki Rock Show, right here on Roxx 100.com.
control. Indecision here, indecision there. Wake up! Try to take it away, you didn't take it away, you can't take it. Try to take it away, you didn't take it away, you can't have it. The sun on my face, the lessons I've learned. Leave on my skin, tells a story. How great are we lost, well that's not perception. These are some things you can take away. What you say, I don't hear you. What you say, I can't hear you. What you say, I don't see you. What you say, I can't see you. What you say, I said fuck now. What you say, I said fuck now. What you say, I said fuck now. Fuck now. Agree that we've all lost. Agree that we've all lost. Agree that we've all lost. The sun on my face, the lessons I've learned. The heat on my skin tells a story. Agree that we've all lost. Well, that's not perception. These are some things you can take away. These are some things you can take away. These are some things you can take away.
And we are back. There it was, MAGG DYLAN and their song Pawns. And I guess we are running into a little bit of a technical issue.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, I hit up Suzanne. You know, I've been hitting her up all day. And I'm like, hey, you know, what's going on? And you want to do a phone in? You want to do Zoom? Yada, yada, yada. And, oh, now she's like, she's about to sign in. Okay, so we're about to get her in a minute. So I'm like, whatever works best for you. Usually the Zoom thing is cool. And, you know, get to see, oh, there it is. All right. So we're going to pull her in right now and see if we can get this going. Suzanne, are you there? Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
There we go.
All right, we got Suzanne from MAGG DYLAN. What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I think I'm going to put my headphones on though, so I can make sure I can hear. Because otherwise, I might not be able to hear because they're playing video games.
As they do.
Yes, I can. That's Bruce. I could bring him on camera in a second as soon as I found my earbuds,
All righty.
my AirPods. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we are living the dream up here in
Soggy Michigan.
Michigan.
Michigan is awesome.
It's okay, I guess.
Now it looks like the video stream might have paused, but at least we got the audio. Oh, there. Now she's back.
Yep. All right, so hold on. Let me see if I can get this. There's Brucifer. Say hi, Brucifer. Hello.
He seems totally disinterested in anything you have going on right now.
That's exactly the way actually my life is usually. He's very disinterested in whatever I have going on usually.
All right, so let's start right where I got turned on to you guys. I was looking at the lineup of Blue Ridge Rock Festival, which Kevin and I played with Casting Shadows right before you. Oh, hopefully she's still there. And
I am here. I don't know where the camera went. What happened?
I don't know. I have no idea. Now we got the audio.
All right, that's okay. I'm here. I'm going to try to figure out what happened with the camera.
Okay. So, Blue Ridge had a lot of, it was very controversial for a lot of reasons, and it was all over Facebook and all over social media about how much people said it was a shit show and all this. Take us through you guys' experience with Blue Ridge. if she's still there. Oh no. Did we lose her? Oh, wait. Let's try this. Now there's two. There's two Suzannes in here.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Imposter.
Hold on.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm like, geez, we lost you. All right, so the blue. Oh, we got doggies. So take us through the Blue Ridge thing. You know, I don't know if you caught everything I blubbered out, but you know, people are talking all over Facebook and social media about how much of a quote unquote shit show it was. What was your guys' experience with the whole thing?
So driving in, it was a little crazy. You know what I mean? We got there on Thursday, so it was a little stressful, and the lines were long, and we had RV camping, and we may not have been in the right area. However, our experience was amazing. Like, we had so much fun because we got in there Thursday, and we camped, and we were hanging out, and I had to wear a mask the whole time, not just because of COVID, but because of she really enjoys kissing my face, just FYI. But because of the dust, and I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my voice before we go on Sunday if I breathe in all this dust for 3 days. So I had my mask on the entire time. But we had a great time. Like, the setup for the show was great. After the show was great. Everything was, the hardest thing for me and for us as a band is we weren't allowed to use our in-ear system. So I had no monitor. So I had the monitors on stage, which were great. But I didn't have normally, because we play with backing tracks, I usually have some kind of cues going on. So that was it was a little stressful, but it was so fun. Like, it was amazing. Like, seriously, still to this day, like, when I think about it, I just can't even believe, we got so lucky with where we were and with how many people came down, and it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, we set the stage pretty good for you guys.
Okay,
I'm just kidding.
And it was one of those.
You totally did.
It was one of those things. It's like, because when you're on stage, you don't hear how loud it is and how loud a stage is, unless you're like watching the bands or whatever. But when you're on stage, you're just hearing the monitors and all that. And you guys played like right after we did. On that stage, and I'm back at the tracks, 150 some odd yards away, and I just hear people going apeshit crazy, and I'm like, damn, who the hell's that? It sounded like main stage band, and like, oh no, that's MAGG DYLAN. They're fucking awesome.
It helped that Tim boosted the volume up on that stage.
Our sound guy. And I was listening. I was getting food at the time, and I still heard it plain as day.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so. What food did you get? You have to tell me about the food first. I'm sorry to totally interrupt.
I think I got like I ordered a whole pizza because
that's right. And then I did the noodle, the Asian noodles or whatever, and I was actually really disappointed. It was not very good.
The pizza wasn't worth standing in line.
It was like $60 for a fucking pizza.
Yeah, standing there for an hour and a half, 2 hours for a full pizza. And I'm like, and Sunday was like hot as balls anyway. So I'm like, man,
it was so hot.
There's no way.
And you guys were on at like 12, right? Or 1 o'clock?
1:20 or something like that. Yeah. It's like, did you have, because I had this issue, I had all my stage clothes on and all this, and that I normally wear for gigs.
Basically, Rikki was wearing a garbage bag.
And, my leather sleeves and leather pants and all this. And when we pulled in, I'm like, nope, this ain't happening. I got to find out how much clothes I can take off because it's hot as balls out there. So how was it for you guys? Because Kevin on Sunday, he was passed out. He missed a lot of bands that he wanted to see because it was so damn hot. What was the situation? How was it for you guys that day?
It was hot, but we knew it was going to be hot. So as soon as we got our set time, we looked at the weather. And we were like, okay, it's going to be the hottest day, and we're going to be on at like 2:30 in the afternoon. And at that point, I think I thought our set time was at 3 because our set time got like moved. And I was like, oh, it's going to be so hot. I, unfortunately, did not get dressed with a full-length mirror. So when I saw the photos of what I looked like on stage, I was like, why didn't anyone tell me my stomach was hanging over my shorts before I stepped on stage?
Been there.
Oh my God, me being me and who I am. Every single photo I look at, I mean, the photos are amazing. So, I mean, it's, some of the photos are super, super good. And then I'm looking at my stomach and I'm like, oh, why didn't someone tell me that I had like the wrong fishnets on for that outfit? I should have worn different fishnets, but it is what it is.
So is that
anyway, I was half naked, so I was not. I mean, I was as cool as I could possibly be.
So is that like a thing? You know, where your band's like, all right, Sue, you gotta change it up. You're not looking completely fly with what you're wearing right now.
Well, usually Bruce, somebody would say like, oh.
I mean, you're not doing full-on butcher's babies or anything like that.
Oh, no. For me, I always wear the same thing. I mean, I'm pretty consistent. I wear shorts and fishnets and either like Chucks or my knee-high Chucks, or I wear my light-up shoes or unicorn shoes. I wear something, like I wear some kind of fun, because I fit in kids' shoes. So I always wear, that's why I like all my kids, that's why I have the stuff with like unicorns and sequins and the light-up shoes. But
you buy your kids the clothes and you end up wearing them.
So she goes to Baby Gap, not just for the kids, for yourself.
Like, this is a little girl shirt. I don't actually have children. I just have dogs.
Okay.
Fur babies.
Same thing.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So I have like I fit in little kids' clothes. So I always go to the kids section because they have the really fun unicorns and kitties and stuff like that. Anyway,
so
I just totally derailed the conversation with the food, and now we're talking about clothes.
Oh no, it's
this is what musicians tend to talk about. Like, your average fan thinks it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's like, no, let's go to Hot Topic and buy fucking cat shirts.
Exactly. Let me go find a Hello Kitty shirt for Halloween. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's fun. We really did have a great time, though. Did you guys have a great time besides the fact that it was hot?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had an epic time. I went crowd surfing during Lamb of God twice. That was fantastic. made it into our music video, too, which was really cool.
It did.
But no, like, I was really bummed I didn't get down there Thursday. I left Friday after I got out of work, and I got in town at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. But like all day Saturday, had an absolute blast. The dust was definitely gnarly. Like, I didn't even think about it until we got back to our house. I took a shower and I was like, man, I can't breathe. And then I blew my nose and it was like just fucking dirt coming out of my nose. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was a trip. I could, it was just in my beard, so I could bat my beard. It was like
cleaning out a filter of a fucking vacuum.
It was horrible. Yeah.
I from Peanuts.
Yeah, for me, I'm not a huge fan of the festival thing because I've said this on the show plenty of times. I pretty much hate people and I don't like being around them. And I'm like, on stage, I have my area and there's nobody around me. I can do what I want. Festival, you have drunk shirtless guy, dirty shirtless guy or girl,
and then me getting tossed all over you, crowd surfing.
Just dirty, horrible people, and getting hit, and I don't want to be hit. I'm too pretty. So I'm like, okay, it was cool. I got to see a lot of bands that I normally wouldn't have gone to see. That was the cool thing.
I thought the sound was like probably the best out of any kind of festival I've been to. Like, you could hear the headlining bands clear as fucking day from like far away. And, after, from what I heard about our set, that was an added bonus that, they cranked us up too. So that was honestly one of the highlights for me. You could be, hundreds of yards away and hear the band clear as day. And I've been to quite a few shows, and like even at professional venues, sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. So for me, I think that was the biggest win, was the sound was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the sound was great. No, it was great. Everything was great.
So let's
it was epic.
So let's get into the band. Give the backstory, because like I said, I just got turned on to you guys because I saw your name. You guys were playing after us at Blue Ridge. That was my first introduction to MAGG DYLAN. And then I kind of, you know, how I do whenever I'm playing a show with another band. I'll go check out what they do and what their sound
Creeps
is
on the page.
You know, I'll creep on YouTube and see what they got going on, to see what we're up against and see what kind of bands we're playing with. You know, so take us back to the beginning, you know, of the band. You know, how did I guess the boring interview question, you know, how did the band get started? How did this whole thing work out?
So I was at an open mic, and Bruce was working at the place that I was doing the open mic, and I sang, and he heard me, and he came out, and then he had a friend there that introduced us, and then we just started talking, and I was in a different band at the time, and the band, I wanted to be a lot heavier than what we were doing, and he's like, hey, I'll write a song for you. I was like, okay, sweet. We'll see if this guy ever freaking messages me, whatever.
Right.
So I left, and then we just started talking, and then we wrote a song, and I brought it to my band, and they didn't want to do it, so we did it anyway, and then we started MAGG DYLAN. That was in November of 17. I went on Shiprocked as a participant. I went on Shiprocked in January, and when I left, he's like, by the time you get back, I'm going to have a full band.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh, so
Determined.
So by the time, so I know. So then when I got back, yeah, he had drums in the house, and then that's when we found our then bass player at the time, and then we just kind of hit the ground running. We got really lucky, like really early on. Like we played Blue Ridge in 2018. We were only 6 months old. And it's so funny because, like, I would always, like, I'm very social. Like, I love people, so don't hate me for that. I'm very social, and I love talking to people, and I just love hearing their opinions and stuff and their stories or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, some of them were like, I don't know, I saw MAGG DYLAN in 2018. I was like, look, you can't even, we are not the same band. We were only 6 months old at the time. We are totally not the same band. And then anybody who had that opinion from that time, they're like, oh, my God, you guys are, you know, they like us now, so it's good.
So,
but yeah, so that's how we were born, and then the name came from Mary Magdalene and Matt Dillon of the Outsiders, because we always feel like we're outsiders, you know, just like always trying to knock through the glass ceiling or knock through the doors or, you know, find our way in. So we always feel like we're outsiders. So that's how the name MAGG DYLAN came to be, because we didn't want to have it be a girl's name completely, you know what I mean? It was just Mary Magdalene or anything. So then it became MAGG DYLAN.
No shit. So
I thought it was some Bob Dylan thing or something like that.
I know. A lot of people think my name is Maggie.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. So, what are your guys' like collectively as a whole like influence musically wise? Because I heard quite a few things. I'm interested to hear if I'm kind of in the ballpark or not.
Well, Alanis. Alanis is one of mine. So
that chorus definitely sounded very Alanis for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, which one? Oh, for Pawn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like, there's a one like note that it literally feels like Jagged Little Pill is playing in my head on fucking loop.
Kind of like the more not screaming parts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of heard that too.
Okay.
Just the note that you hit, for some reason, it just like sounds literally exactly like it, and it kind of threw me for a loop because, you know, with the rest of the song being not Alanis,
right?
It's a really nice blend though, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to ask the question, because I heard quite a bit of different stuff in there.
Yeah, no. So Alanis is definitely one of my, you know, strong influences. And just like the freedom in her lyrics. Another one is Stevie Nicks, which a lot of people are always really stunned to kind of hear that. I'm trying to think of like, so for Bruce has like such a wide variety of, and he writes all the music. Mm-hmm. So he has such a wide variety of experiences where a lot of it, you know, a lot of it's from the 70s music. Like if you listen to some of his guitar solos, they sound very 70s style, because he, you know, loves that kind of music and loves like Chicago and some of that older stuff. But then he's also like loves Korn. And Bruce was in a band that was signed on Slipknot's label back in like the early 2000s in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So he comes from that like Las Vegas background, and brings a lot of that in. But he also loves Seven Dust, Coheed and Cambria. Christopher, who else? Wage War. Well, what now? Wage War. He's talking about influences like on Amethyst and
there you go,
just like before that. It is a really hard question to answer, but like I know Adam loves Motionless in White. You know, Les loves everybody. Les is kind of like me. Les just loves everyone. You know what I mean? Like I love Seven Dust. I love Hell Yeah. So Hell Yeah is one of my favorite bands. Hailstorm is one of my favorite bands. I will never sound like the Queen, Lizzie Hale. I'm okay with it. She is like my go-to practice to see if I can hit a certain note. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I know I will never ever like even come close to sounding like Lizzie Hale. But she's one of my, you know, like I love her lyrics and the words and just the way everything about. I love Hailstorm.
I got a lot of Corn,
Wow.
so I'm glad to hear that. I kind of got a little bit of like In This Moment, Spirit Box, even though like not because it's a female fronted thing, but just like the groove and like some of the other things, like that's kind of what popped out to me. But yeah, no, the overall sound is really damn good. Not like your not your run of the mill like hard rock. I don't know. It's just that's the style of music I like, and I heard a lot of those different influences, so that's why I had to ask.
Yeah, no, and it is different. Because Amethyst, when did Amethyst come out? It came out right before the pandemic. So Amethyst came out in February of 2020, like literally February 21st or something like that of 29th of 2020, and then like the pandemic hit 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like were like dead in the water with, you know, promoting or going out on tour or doing anything. You know, we did the best we could, but no, he was just. Bruce is asking me what you're asking is too hard. I'm just like, I'll tell you later.
So you know this is a question. You know, when you were running off that you're a fan of Alanis Morissette and Stevie Nicks, you know, two bands or two artists that you know aren't really known for hard rock and metal and the kind of music that you guys you know do in MAGG DYLAN. You know, what was the you know when you came back from the cruise and that band was there, you know, were you kind of maybe blown away or kind of like, ooh, I don't know if this is what I want to do kind of thing, you know, how is it? Because it's like Stevie Nicks, you got Fleetwood Mac and Alanis Morissette, which is, you know, she rocks it out, but, you know, was it kind of one of those things like, ooh, this might be a little too hard for me, or was it like, okay, this is going to push me in a different direction kind of thing?
So that's the thing. So like every single time we write a song, like especially when we did Pawns, and I come up with something like sad and confused, who do I believe? You know what I mean? And I come up with these like really light melodies or whatever. It's really this big conflict. But I can't help it. Like, but I love metal. So some of the bands I didn't name probably are like. I know I mentioned Hell Yeah. I know Five Finger Death Punch. You know what I mean? Godsmack. So I really do like a lot of the hard rock and metal stuff. But yeah, I haven't listened to a lot of I hadn't listened to a lot of In This Moment until a little bit later on. And I do love Maria Brink and I love In This Moment. But it always feels like I have like that's why we almost call ourselves pop metal, because we have like this mix of just not. You know, heavy vocals, and then I bring in the screams, so then we make it heavy. I don't know. It didn't feel weird though. It doesn't. Every once in a while though, I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. And it was also like when we wrote the bridge to Pawns, Bruce wanted it to be like radio friendly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, been there.
I'm like, what to say? I said, fuck yeah. And he was just like, seriously?
That's not going to be on FM.
I was like, I can't help it. I can't. That's what I'm hearing. It was really funny because and it was like 2 days of him trying to change my mind of what went down on that bridge. And I couldn't come up with anything else. I'm like, this is what I feel. This is because I was so frustrated and so angry about the division that I feel like everything's brought. You know what I mean? Or like the pandemic brought instead of bringing us together. And I don't want to like go too far down that road, but I'm a together-y type of person. So, and for me, it was a really good outlet to get that frustration out, if that makes sense.
I mean, based on the overall sound and everything, like you guys walk that line perfectly of being able to kind of touch the hard rock fans and the metal fans without alienating one or the other. And I think that personally is a perfect spot to be in because you're not pigeonholing yourself into, okay, we can't do like fucking crazy double bass and blast beats on this because we're more rock oriented. But at the same time, you're like, okay, well, this song calls for this and this is what I'm thinking. and you can go, well, we're not intending it to be radio or radio friendly rather. So that opens a lot of avenues and a lot of shows for you guys, and I think that's a great spot to be in.
It is. It's really fun because sometimes it's funny because like we just did a show with Blacktop Mojo. Who, oh my God, if you have not seen Blacktop Mojo,
Huge fan, awesome band.
good. Oh my God, they are so amazing. Like I had not seen them as a full band. I saw them like do an acoustic thing on Shiprock a couple years ago. So they were just amazing. But we did, the show with them, and we are heavy. You know what I mean? Like a lot of our stuff is heavy. So we brought out a couple of our songs that aren't like as heavy, but it was, we do kind of walk that line where sometimes we wind up on a big metal bill where everything is just like super, super, super heavy, and we are not.
I've been there.
Yeah. And we did have
exactly.
we did have a question in the chat from James Prudlick. He wants to know what your favorite song is from your set list.
Oh,
I know it's the worst question to ask, mostly a singer, but gotta answer and give me your favorite song to do.
Probably, so Delusional is probably my favorite. It's a toss up. So there's so many that I love because they're all my babies, but Delusional is about my sobriety. And that one is like so close. And then there's Tears. Tears is the other one. And that one is because it's like a true story about when I was driving over the Lesnar Bridge with my mom. And my mom literally, she looks at me, she's like, how long are you going to be this unhappy? So those are like the first opening lyrics in Tears is, I don't even remember, how long, when my mother asked me how long will you be unhappy, because she literally asked me that. So it's a toss up between those two. Those are my two favorites.
So I guess on the other side of that, when you're playing a show, what's the song that comes up in the set list where you're like, oh, God damn it, I don't want to sing this. I don't want to do this song. Is there any song that you don't like doing as much as the others?
So, there is a song that I'm afraid of. So it's also one of my most favorite songs to sing, though. But there are songs where I'm afraid I'm going to screw up. Do you have one of those?
Oh God!
Every single song I play.
I think every musician has that one song where it's like, if it goes really well, this could make the set. But if I fuck it up, oh boy, oh boy.
Exactly.
Every song I play.
Exactly. So I have a couple of those. And one of them is so Naked Alone in the Tub is a really hard one for me because it's like super emotional. But if I don't put the emotion behind it, it doesn't convey. Do you know what I mean? Like if I get stuck in the technical performance, people can't really feel what the song is about. So
you lose the emotion.
Exactly. So I always try to get the emotion. So on my mic stand, I have my two of my dog's collars. My dog Farley. So when my dog Farley died, my first like I told you, so I don't have kids. Mm-hmm. So I had gone through my second divorce, and my mom had just survived colon cancer, and it was just like a really, really rough time for me. So that's when I started writing the lyrics to Naked Alone in the Tub. So and I have his collar on my mic stand. So if you ever like look at my mic stand, I've got all this stuff on there, but at the bottom of it is like a blue spiked collar, and that's Farley's, who's actually this guy right here. I don't know if you can see it on camera.
Yeah, we kind of see it.
Tattoo.
Yep.
But he was my first English bulldog, and he was like my rock of Gibraltar. So with that song, that's one of the songs that for me it's stressful. It's just, you know what I mean? Because and then our English bulldog, Tommy Boy, a puppy, he died July 21st of this past year. So I had finally gotten another English bulldog, and then he died. It was awful. So he has mega esophagus. I'm not trying to bring the conversation down, but I'm just like, so for me, when we tried to do Naked Alone in the Tub after Tommy died, I was sobbing hysterically. Like we tried to do it twice, and I just cried, and I couldn't even get through it at practice. And then we threw it into the set at a show when we were on tour with Head PE. Mm-hmm. And I was able to sing it, and I was like, okay, all right, so I can do it. I can get through it. So that's the one that brings me probably the most anxiety, because I just never know if I'm going to make it through the song emotionally or not.
So is that like a song where, if it's in the set list, at any given show, you turn to the guys, be like, okay, guys, I'm really not in the right mind space to do this one today. We got to axe this one because I'm not in that space. We got to just knock it, pick another song. We're not doing that one.
Or if I'm too, sometimes I've said, I can't do it today. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Like, I was like, I can't, because I know I'm going to break down and cry, and then I won't even be able to sing the thing.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say, because you mentioned on your mic stand you keep the dog tags. Do you do that to kind of? I don't want to sound crude when I'm saying this, but there's a reason why I'm asking. Like, do you kind of keep those there to like kind of almost get you over the hump of, okay, like as soon as you look at that dog tag, it's going to bring up that emotion. And the only reason why I asked that is because I lost 2 of my cats last year as well. And like, if I see like pictures, like it will start bringing the teary-eyed shit like instantly. So like, do you kind of almost use that as a crutch, so to speak, or is it just more so there because like you obviously miss your pets?
Well, yeah, because Farley and Knuckles are there. So I put them there originally just to have them with me. You know what I mean? So that I originally put them there just to bring them with me all the time. And then there was one of the times where I just looked down and it was right before Naked, and I was like, it like hit me. You know what I mean? Like that there he was right there. There was his collar, and we were doing the song. So yeah. So I think it's kind of like a connection thing,
Right.
you know what I mean? Where I go back to feel that space.
Wow, we're
Yeah,
getting deep.
I guess.
We're getting
I
deep.
know,
We're getting deep.
You know, we're artists, so of course that's who we are.
I am not an artist. I'm a bass player. Okay.
So you mentioned that you guys had gone out with Head PE. How much other touring have you guys done? I mean, you obviously said, what was it, 2017? You came back. Bruce had the band established. Like what has your guys' like trajectory been since then? Highlight any tours that you guys have done, big shows aside from Blue Ridge, and then to build on that, what is your guys' game plan for 2022?
So we did 2 tours with Head PE. We did one in 2020, right before Amicus came out. And then we did the second one in August, right before Blue Ridge Rock Festival. So, but we've had so when we were 4 months, I think in July, the band was really started in March. And we basically had our first show on right around St. Patrick's Day when we had a big party. And we had our first show at a local place called the Riff House in Chesapeake. That was our first show, March 15th. But we wrote Delusional on Monday, the 11th, and we played it on the 15th. So that's kind of the way MAGG DYLAN has gone. We'll write a song, and then suddenly, okay, you guys got to do this show, and then you got to do this show. And there's a really long story behind that. But 2 of the bands were supposed to be playing, and they didn't wind up playing. So it was crazy. And then we opened for Red Jumpsuit Apparatus in July. And then we landed 2 shows opening for OTEP that fall. We opened for Saliva a couple times. And Paul Crosby, the drummer from Saliva, was our manager for a while, who we absolutely adored. He's awesome. So we've gotten to do that. We did a little mini tour last year, which is it's our drummer's 1-year anniversary with the band this weekend. So that's super exciting.
Wow, a drummer that sticks around. Crazy.
I know.
Hey, I could say the same thing about guitar players.
He's upstairs. I can't believe he hasn't poked his head down here yet. But me, Bruce, and Adam live together. But he moved out here from California, and like I said, his 1-year anniversary show is this Friday. So this Friday we have the show at Scandals, which is gonna be fun.
Awesome.
And I'm trying to think of what other. We opened for Adelaide's Way a couple times. Right after Blue Ridge, we got to open for Butcher Babies, Infected Rain, and Stitched Up Heart. That was amazing. We are going in the studio in December. So we're in pre-production. After these next couple shows, we're going into pre-production. We're not going to play. We have 1 show with Cultus Black in North Carolina. I think it's Thanksgiving weekend. And we love those guys. Those guys are so cool. So we're going to, it's only 4 or 5 hours away. So we're going to do that 1 show, and then we're probably not going to do any more shows for 2021. And then we're going into the studio, and then we're going to focus on pushing the singles and doing that. And then hopefully lining up for some tours for the spring, summer.
So I know Rikki was about to say something, but we're kind of in a similar position. Actually, I'm in a position with 2 bands, and this always happens. The band says, all right, we're going to take a little bit of time off. We're going to record. And then inevitably you get hit up with shows. How do you guys as a band deal with turning down or just sticking to your guns of, hey, we're focusing on recording, we're not going to play any shows? Because as artists, we obviously love playing shows. but the content and the business side of it has to always be done in a timely manner. What are some things you guys do to kind of curb the well, come on, it's one show, and then the one show turns into 3 or 4?
You know,
Wow,
when
you
we were in the
stumped her,
studio
Kev.
last time, yeah, you did, because it was August the 19th when we were in the studio that time, and we did wind up opening for All That Remains. So
Not a
we
bad
will make an
consolation prize.
exception. No, exactly. Like it would be like if we got the call to open for Ginger, because Ginger's going to be here that Thanksgiving weekend, like right around that same time we're doing that Cultist Black show. So if we got the call to do that, I'm pretty sure we're going to drop everything to go open. You know what I mean?
So you guys basically like are going to be getting more like the nationals offers rather than, hey, you know, like Tommy's Pub down the road. Like even if it's a really killer like local band, you guys are more than likely probably not going to be as entertained as if it was like, hey, Motionless and White's in town. Do you guys want to open?
Well, we do both. Like, because we really do. We do both. You know what I mean? Like, so this Friday, this one that's coming up, it's us and a bunch of local bands that are on, and it's a Friday night Halloween party, and we're super excited to do that. So we're usually just down to play, but we're really going to try to like make sure that we stick to our guns kind of and do something, unless something like, you know, major. It's like, what?
See, every band I've been in, we always say, okay, no more shows, but then it's like we always get an opportunity where it's like, okay, those are our boys, like we want to go play with them, or it's like, oh, so and so's coming to town. It's like, oh fuck, I would love to open for them. It's really hard to say, okay, we're gonna focus on the business, we're gonna record, we're gonna do this, and then everything you've worked for kind of catches up, and it's like, oh hey, I got this opportunity, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to turn it down.
Right. Exactly. I don't know. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because I really haven't had that one.
So a question I had, because on this show, you know, Kevin and I have been playing in bands for a majority of our lives, you know, and we like to kind of educate, you know, people, you know, as to, you know, whether musicians or whoever wants to be educated, I guess.
Learn from our failures.
You know, you brought up the tours with Head PE. You know, how does, you know, and this is something that a lot of bands would love to do, go out on tour with a band like Head PE or name any other band, you know, on that level. They'd love to do it. That's a goal of theirs to go out on tour with a band like that. You know, how does that opportunity, you know, present itself to you guys? You know, are you guys just massively just emailing managers, or is it something like, hey, give us $20 million and you can come out and open for us? Or is it like somebody from the band saw you at one point, it's like, hey, we're going out on a a month run or whatever, you guys want to jump on? How does a situation like that present itself to you guys?
Paul. That was our manager, Paul Crosby.
Okay. All right. Easy enough. Yeah. I was expecting a bigger
I'm just
thing.
here so I don't get fined. That was like how quick the answer was. But no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that was Paul. So yeah, so that was Paul, and then we you know, we love them. So we, you know what I mean? Like and all 4 of us are kind of people. Do you know what I mean?
So have you guys actually done a tour where you were like the headliner, or have you just basically done the support?
No. We've done support, and
Okay.
I'm so happy doing support. Like, I am totally happy to just go out there and do support. It's totally fine.
Well, I mean, like some of those rooms you guys are going to play with, like the likes of Head P, are obviously ideal. But I ask because I've never gotten to do the support route like that. I always did it where like we were the big deal headliner, and honestly, I really
Playing
loved it.
Joe's Tavern in Boise, Idaho.
But honestly, I had a lot of fun. And the reason why I asked is because your experience is the different end of the spectrum from mine. Is that something that's on your guys' radar to do? Or are you just kind of like, we're going to keep doing the support thing until we're big enough to like, hopefully, you know, maybe have another band come on and open for us kind of thing? Or are you just kind of like, we'll just see how the chips fall?
No, we want to do that too. We're planning on doing that too. We're setting up a run.
Okay.
And then that's where we're like, oh, we just booked studio time. Halt.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine like after doing support tours, going out and doing a headliner is going to be significantly easier than the alternative. But, you know, like I could totally understand if you're like, It might just be one of those things where like you might be a bit nervous to like be the main attraction, which I would totally understand because like if you're going on support tours and you're playing like 300 to 1,000 cap rooms and then you're going out by yourself or you're going out as the headliner,
you're playing restaurants where you got to call out between songs. Table 5, your pizza's ready, and
well, not even that, but like even if you're playing a bigger room, like the worry of hey, if we don't pack this, like this could look really bad, kind of thing. So I mean that would be an anxiety thing, you know.
You know, those shows are fun because we did a couple of shows like where we did like a little Tennessee run and we went out. But those little rooms, you meet some really cool people usually.
That's why I love the little rooms. They're easy to pack too.
You get to really meet and talk to some awesome people. So there's both. I guess there's both, coming soon, I guess, but we don't really have anything planned except for studio time. And if I say anything else, Bruce may come off that couch and come over here.
He's playing video games. He ain't moving. He ain't moving.
It was funny. I was gonna like switch the camera because he was over there like dancing because he wanted to get my attention. There's Adam. He's up there. Hold on.
Okay, what's Bruce playing for all the listeners because they want to know?
Bruce, what are you playing?
Far Cry 6.
What?
Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 6?
Oh, okay. I'm a Nintendo guy, so I was hoping like some
Mario
Nintendo.
Oh yeah, well no, he's big into Fallout. Like Fallout's his game, but I don't know why he's taking a break from Fallout right now.
Okay. I had one other question just because it's something that I always like asking. What was like the most important thing you learned, like tour hack or just like eye-opening experience when you guys went out on the road? Like it could be the most insignificant thing or it could be like something super routine. What was the biggest thing you took away from touring?
Okay. I learned so much from touring. But like the biggest tour hack is that you can park in a Walmart parking lot overnight. I did not know that.
Don't you have to actually like at least buy something to do that? Because I've heard the same thing.
No, you don't have to buy anything. I mean, we
Okay.
always did, but like you don't have to buy anything. I want to take my things out so because Adam just walked downstairs so he can hear. Hold on. Let me just see. Hopefully, I'm not. Did it go to normal speaker?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, hold on. Keep talking.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
We're talking.
No, it's not working. Hold on. I might have to put him back on.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yep, I got to put him back on. I can't hear anything.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
no.
Fucking 2021.
Okay. Hello?
We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
there we go.
She broke it.
There you are. No, I did. I almost broke it.
Call tech
I was
support.
trying to get. So here he is. You got a question for Adam? I can repeat it. I'd have to repeat it because I don't have it on speaker.
All right, so we need a question for Adam. Kevin,
I
go.
was curious, what was like the biggest, like almost like eye-opening thing, tour hack wise, that you learned from going out on the road? Like it could be super insignificant, or it could be something like life-altering. What was just like the one thing that kind of just made you go, "Oh shit! I wish I would have known that."
Eye-opening tour hack. What's the biggest eye-opening tour hack that you were like, "Oh shit! I wish I would have known that." Now you got to keep in mind that Adam. Tell them about yourself, Adam.
Hi.
17 years.
Oh yeah, take the other one. It should be in there. It shouldn't be dead.
Tech.
There he is. What's up, Rikki?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Howdy.
Good.
All right, so tour hacks. Big tour hacks. We already had the Walmart parking lot as Suzanne's tour hack. What is your biggest tour hack?
Actually, another one is actually Cracker Barrel. And Cracker Barrel actually gives discounts to touring bands.
Really?
Yes.
Like, what kind of discounts are we talking here? Are we talking like 5% off kind of thing, or what
Ricky
kind
needs brass tacks.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Some of them do it, but it's like there's only a select few, and I think it's like any one of them that are like off the major highways, because obviously the highways going from city to city, it's right there and be like, hey, let's stop at a Cracker Barrel. We're not. Hey, we're on tour right now, and then usually they'll be like, oh, okay, it's like 25% off or something like that, or I don't know. I've never really experienced it because any of the bands that I work for, we never really ever stopped at the Cracker Barrel unless it's a day off and we did our own thing. But Rikki, actually, I think I've met you before because I actually used to be Rob's drum tech with Nonpoint.
With who?
Nonpoint?
Probably met me over at Diesel at some point or something like that over here in Michigan.
Yeah. We've played the Machine Shop. We usually sell the Machine Shop out all the time. We played Meat Factory and Battle Creek, the Diesel up in Detroit. There was a room up in Traverse City.
Traverse City, yeah.
We would play a room up there, and then there was also one that was up on the upper part of the Glove, right around like Gaylord, Michigan. But it was like almost like you can literally see the Canadian border right across the river.
That sounds like Poho.
It sounds like Port Huron.
Yeah.
It might be. And then actually, how I met these guys, actually, I was working at HPE. So if you ever came to a HPE show, I was actually their stage manager and guitar tech for the last year and a half.
So what made you want to go from being a stage manager for, you know, Nonpoint, Head PE, those kind of bands into joining a band and kind of foregoing that nice paycheck?
I've been a drummer longer than I've been a tech. So, the opportunity arose to work, like I said, I met these guys and they did a short run down in like the southeastern corner of Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, I believe. I can't remember any of the other dates that were on it. So it was their first big tour. So, I took them underneath my wing. I mean, we even had an incident where we played a venue and Bruce was like, where the hell's all my guitars? And because like when he took them out of the cases, he actually just left them sitting on top of the cases and they were laying right there on the floor. And it was a pathway, like right in the guitar center world. And so it was like, it's like his Ibanez, it's gonna get stopped on. So I literally took his two guitars and put them on my guitar boat. So he started freaking out. He's just like, where's my guitar? I can't find my guitars. I was like, which guitars are yours? So I ended up taking the guitar, the covers that I had on the guitar boat off, and actually showed him I had his two guitars in the boat. He was like, "Oh my God!" He was like, "Thank you so much." And like from then on out, it was just like taking them under my wing and be like, "Hey, this is how it's going." Like, and there were some shows where they were direct support, and some shows where they were kind of open support, depending on the city that we were located in. And so it's like, I think you guys did 10 shows,
Something like that.
11 shows with us, so it's like, it was just building that camaraderie, showing them the road, and I'm a stickler, I'm OCD, I was like, I don't like rat nests, but like, and the stage is super quick, so it's like, I help, no matter who's on tour or even local, also along with the headliners, make stuff go faster and smoother. And then, fast forwarding to 2020, September 25th, I actually ended up had an operation on my left ankle. I had 4 screws put in my left ankle, and then there was small talks in between there, like, hey, if our previous drummer decided to take off or whatnot, it's like they're like, would you come drum for us? I'm like, cool, just let me know. Sure as heck. All of a sudden, it's like end of September, beginning of October, when they're like, hey, we have 3 shows in Texas we were invited to do, and our drummer saying, do it. Can you do it? I'm like, sure, give me the set list. So I learned 4 songs out in California. That's where I was living at the time. And then when I got here, I learned the other 4. We went and literally a day and a half of practice, drove to Texas and played 3 shows. And pretty much they just offered me the opportunity on a silver platter. And I was like, cool, cancel the flight. And within a week, became my new home.
What's your favorite piece of your drum kit?
Okay, drummer talk.
I have to ask.
Here it goes. Damn it, I knew it was going to happen. Drummers.
Actually, the idea behind my kit, the whole concept, I actually have the D-Drum hybrid. So it's actually an electronic kit if I hook it up to a brain, or it's an acoustic kit when we play live. So literally, I can take any one of my kits, plug it into a trigger, or plug it into a brain, which I made the purchase yesterday. I actually had to lease this third mesh kit with a brain with like 40 different drum kits and like 300 some odd sounds So now I can actually take that brain to my acoustic kit, plug in a trigger, and literally, if I want to make my floor tom sound like a honking train, or I can literally hit my floor tom, and all of a sudden we got a train that's coming out of the PA system.
That's awesome.
Step up your game, Raz.
I thought I had cool hardware. This guy's got fucking electronics that'll blow my shit out of the water.
Kevin was like sitting there thinking, it's like, oh, if you got that nice pearl snare, which snare do you have? And he's like, no, man, I got electronics. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Pretty much, but the whole concept is like, I haven't really done it. I mean, I like that whole concept, but it's like I said, I went out yesterday and bought at least a third kit, and now with a lot of the new songs that we're writing, Amethyst came out 2020. They never really got to tour on Amethyst. Cool. I actually just learned tonight the last song of that album, so I literally know the album finally a year later today. I know all 10 tracks plus the single You Ought to Know, plus our new song Pawns, and then now we have undisclosed number of new tracks coming out, but it requires electronic kit to it. So there's some pieces to where it's electronic kick drum rather than the acoustic sounding kick drum. And granted, you can do that stuff by recording and going to the producer and just doing it on track. But I'm the kind of drummer that I have ADHD.
I think all drummers have a little bit of that. I was actually gonna say though.
True story. So it's like.
We still got the audio. Keep going.
Are you still there?
Yeah, we're still here. I was actually.
Sorry, my mom was calling in. My phone died. My headphone died.
Yeah, we're still here. I was gonna ask if the
we're here.
I don't think they can hear us.
Hello. Hello.
Is this thing on?
That's what I was trying to do. See, where's the speaker? There we go.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
He fixed it.
All right.
So now you're on speaker again.
So what I was going to ask was, having the ability to have the electric kit, does that kind of open up some avenues, just because like the overall sound of the band, like I noticed like some Korn influences, does that kind of just like open up a lot of different opportunities to throw in like more digitized, maybe do like kind of like orgy, have like that electronic feel that like might, I guess, kind of like complement a song in a different way rather than playing on an acoustic kit?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it takes it to a point to where like, a powerful kind of like sad metal song might have like an acoustically electronic like sound barrier for like the first verse or maybe the intro or something like that. So it's like with the electronic kit, I can actually now make it sound filtered to then where you go into a chorus. Obviously you want the chorus bigger than the verse.
Right.
So with it being simplified in the verse and then you come out the chorus, that's where you switch from that electronics that you use into the full acoustic kit. And then, it hits harder, it kind of brings a little bit of a bigger impact, to the song also.
Okay.
But, and that's, one band, they call me the library, and it's not really an ego thing, but I was like, music has always been my biggest passion, but it's kind of like very Breaking Benjamin, Sean Foist. And, when you hear those low pass filtered drums, that's actually an electronic kit. If you ever actually looked at a picture of Sean's kit, he actually has 8 like electronic pads that are associated in his kit. And you're just like, okay, what does he use those with? But he also has like a 7-piece or an 8-piece acoustic drum kit, but he's got all these additional features, cymbals, rototoms, electronic, drum pads and stuff. So it's also kind of taken that same concept of, Dear Agony, Phobia album, and then now their new release, Aurora. So, but it also, goes into if we need to play an acoustic show, some I do have a cajon, but now we can kind of do like a 7-desk acoustic or see their acoustic show. and not really go full bore with an acoustic kit. I can actually just break out the electric kit and be able to, dumb it down a little bit.
It's almost like Nirvana Unplugged in New York, where you can like tune everything down, not have it be full bore.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's actually really cool, and I would have never thought about that. I've played on an electric kit myself a few times, and the one thing I liked with the mesh kits was you got a good amount of bounce, that response, but it just never felt quite the same as an acoustic kit. So that was part of the reason why I wanted to ask these questions. I don't normally get to talk to drummers a whole lot, and the fact that you're kind of doing the hybrid thing, that's like super interesting to me. I have actually seen over the years like a couple, metal bands where, their drummer pulled the fucking electric kit up on stage, and it sounded great, don't get me wrong, but it was just visually kind of one of those things where I was like, man, even as a drummer and a fan, it's just a different thing when you see a drummer playing like an electric kit. But I know they've come a long way to make those electric kits like have shells and shit, like the Pearl kits.
If you want to catch a drummer that looks like he's using an acoustic kit, but he's not, Theory of a Dead Man's drummer actually is all mesh heads except for his snare drum.
Okay.
But it looks like an acoustic drum kit. Like it's the same tom sizes, the kick drum, everything is actually all looks like an acoustic kit, but it's actually all mesh heads. So he is literally 100% digital.
Yeah, I think Pearl makes those kits, and I've seen them, and I was honestly kind of looking into it because the shells actually look pretty nice. I was like, it's one of those things where you can mesh like, okay, it looks like an acoustic kit, but it's going to have the response of an electric kit, which is super cool. But
if you remember Orgy back in the day, it's like when you saw his kit up on stage, it looked like he was using an acoustic kick drum.
Yep.
But everything else was electronic.
Yep.
So, but it was all pads. So it's like you can definitely tell that it was all digitized, and the kick drum was literally the only acoustic thing that he used to use.
Yep. I remember '98 Family Values tour. I was like, damn.
Yep. Saw that tour in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
At the time it was called Tweeter Center, but now it's like Hollywood Casino Amphitheater or some crap like that.
Yeah, probably.
All right, since I'm not a drummer and I have no idea what you guys are talking about, I wanted to ask this question. You moved all the way from California, okay?
Yeah.
And MAGG DYLAN is based out of Virginia Beach. What was, how did you decide to make that move? Because it's a question that we've had on the show from musicians who are like, hey, should I move to pursue my dream, or should I stay here? What should I do? What was the big thing in your head where you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm moving across the country?
The biggest thing was my heart. Just given that opportunity, because one is when they were on tour with us and with Head PE, it was like we built a pretty strong bond. So the friendship, the loyalty, like even after the tour, it's like I was always talking to Bruce, or I was always talking to Les, and just talking back and forth. And there was actually already a second tour scheduled with them, to where it was going to be in the upper New England states rather than the Southeast. Mm-hmm. And then 2020 hit, and we were on tour. We were actually on our second tour already, and we were up in Laconia, New Hampshire, when all of a sudden we just started seeing all the venues canceling. And it was like, so I remember flying home. It was actually St. Patrick's Day 2020. And then, like I said, at the time, it's like 2020, there was no touring. We never saw light as far as touring was ever going to happen again. And that's why I made the move on finally getting my ankle fixed, because that's a whole nother story that happened now 4 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But it's just the opportunity, because the bond was already there. The friendship was already there. And then for them to think of me as their, first resort all the way on California to see if I wanted to do it, it was like, my heart was already in it, just because the fact that they asked me, knowing what I was going through, and knowing that, okay, cool. We know he just had surgery, but he's definitely our guy to be able to pull it off. So right there, it was like, I'm going to take the chance. But then, once I got out here, we started practicing, and it was hilarious because there was like, you know, when you sit here and bring somebody out, it's like, okay, did this guy actually learn the material? Is he going to come out here and literally not know a single thing that we sent him? So, you know, like I said, I learned 4 out there, came back here. We literally ran through 8 songs in a day and a half and took off, you know, the next day after the day and a half of rehearsals. And granted, it was very simplistic to guaranteed to how I'm playing the songs now, but, you know, I had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But the move was, I wasn't tied down in California. It was just.
Well, the reason I ask is because, you know, California, for all those big bands, you know, that's kind of like the epicenter of where they're going to find, you know, their.
It's either that or New York. Really.
You know, you know, your stage managers and all this, all those big bands, they're practicing out there and all that. And to move to Virginia Beach, Virginia, you know, moving out there, which, yeah, let's be completely honest, isn't a huge hub for a lot of big bands to, you know, latch onto a tour with. So you're pretty much
cost of living's cheaper.
You know, yeah, you know, you're giving up that whole side, you know, of, you know, being in that environment with all those bands. And, you know, I've talked to people that live out in California, like, yo, if you want to be in the music industry, if you're good, you can maybe latch on with another band as a guitar player, a stage manager, a sound guy or something like that. You know, going from that environment to Virginia Beach, Virginia, you know, was that like something that you took into consideration? Be like, oh, I'm not going to be around all these huge bands.
It's kind of like a smaller pond of like smaller fish rather than being.
No, not at all. Just because a lot of the bands that I already work for, it's like I've built up enough trust and respect from them. Like going back to Head PE, you know, we did that it was kind of like, can't remember the name of the tour, but it was Powerman 5000, Head PE, Edema, Andrew W. Boss, and we had one more band out with us. But it was even doing that tour to where Powerman 5000, Edema, them all actually like earning my respect and trust were, you know, even though I worked for Head PE, I still helped all the bands out. That's just my thing. That's just the way I work. I can't do it any other way. To where when I got done with my very first Head PE tour, I actually started working for Edema. Of course, you're talking Bakersfield. You're talking Jonathan Davis's brother.
Mm-hmm. My wife loves Edema, by the way. So if you can hook us up at some point, you know, holler at me.
Oh, okay,
I'm just kidding.
and it's funny because we mentioned Orgy before. Ryan Shuck from Orgy is the new lead singer of Edema. So, you know, I already had an in with, because, you know, Ryan asked me to be a part of their camp because, you know, he loved everything that I did when they were on tour with us and Power Man. To where it's like, I did 5 shows with them. They were like, cool. They were like, just to let you know, we're also going to take you out on the Julian K runs, because him and Amir from Orgy are actually in a band called Julian K. He was like, you're going to be my stage guy for Julian K. And then, you know, if Orgy happens, you know, I can set you up with Orgy as well. So it's like, just in a short amount of time, and like my work ethic and how hard I work. And I'm not trying to sound like I have an ego, but it's just, I've been doing it for 17 years that I've like worked with a lot of bands to where it's like I've earned a lot of respect to where, you know, when I was with Nonpoint, we did a tour with Hell Yeah. And, you know, Jake and them, I actually ended up becoming P King's backup drum tech. And that was another tour that I ended up losing out because P King was supposed to go out with Baby Metal. So I was getting brought in to actually be Roy Mayorga's drum tech for Hell Yeah. Because I was already on the tour. P King knew me. I knew P King. We had a big brotherhood. He was like, I trust Adam to do it. So if I can't do it, Adam's going to be your drum tech. Cool. And then, you know, from there, it's also with Nonpoint, we did Butcher Babies. I became Butcher Babies drum tech when we did a 10.5-week tour together, to where Chase was like, you're going to be my drum tech. So there was that Hell Yeah, Butcher Babies, All That Remains, Solve tour that was supposed to be, and I was supposed to be on that tour.
So basically, what I'm hearing is be humble and network. And that's not anything you need to tell me before, but just based off of that little literature that you read off to us, like if you get involved in music and you do a good job and you bust your ass, like those opportunities can and will present themselves.
And that's how, a good friend of ours, Kelly Tucker, made his
I know Kelly very, very well because he actually was for one tour, he was actually 9 points front of house guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Small world.
So yeah, and I mean, rest in peace. Dude was hilarious.
Oh, trust me,
Yeah.
Rikki and I know.
Yeah,
Rikki
we've
and
known.
him got in a fight on Woodward, and Kelly was the guitar player in the band I was in, so we had a bunch of fucking shit
He was a
shows.
co-host on my show for a long time, and he beat the crap out of me outside Diesel.
Yeah, the dude was tripped, and I mean, he was coming up. I mean, he had a lot of knowledge and a lot of friends, in the music industry to where, he had the opportunity where he ended up going out and started working for Sunshine Studio out in Colorado Springs.
Yep.
And that's, can't remember Scott's last name, but Scott from Saving Abel, the bassist, him and his fiance, Christina, own that venue. So for them and the bond that he built with all these other bands for, Scott to sit here and say, hey, you want to come work for me? Come all the way out to Colorado from Michigan. And it's that, but that's kind of like just going into the gist of me. It's like, I can sit here, if MAGG DYLAN was like break up tomorrow or something like that, or 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, and I wanted to go back doing the teching thing, I know I would not have a problem because I've built that relationship with so many bands already that I know I would be always a phone call away. And they know, and airport's right down the road. I can get to any airport, no matter what, and make things happen. The same thing for the bands.
All right, so we are at past 9 o'clock. Kevin's probably like, I gotta go to work in the morning.
I mean, I do, but
I don't.
But hearing this kind of side of it is like kind of why we do what we do. Because, I mean, even for me, like this is super informative, like cool shit to hear.
So, Adam, since you're there, MAGG DYLAN.
Yeah.
You're a guy who's been on tour with huge bands, stage manager, doing this thing. Where do you see, with how the business end of MAGG DYLAN is? Because undoubtedly you've seen the business end of bands like Nonpoint, Head PE, and all this. You've seen it, and where do you see MAGG DYLAN being in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? How do you see this playing out?
And the funny thing is, that's a very easy question to ask because a lot of the fans around here are very, very super supportive, and we have a huge fan base. And me coming out here for the first time, I was pretty much welcomed by open arms. But the fan base that decided to go off and buy $200 tickets for Blue Ridge. And then when it came to that Sunday playing Blue Ridge,
Oh my God.
it literally looked like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people standing in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so with, first of all, with that type of support, I see headline runs next year. I definitely see a lot of support runs. And I will let you know, there are talks right now, but with certain headlining bands of doing tours and stuff like that. So the opportunity is there, and it's going to be around for a while.
I like how you just stopped, and I was like,
He's like, I really can't say
Did we
anything
lose
else
the
right
mic?
now.
yeah. And then he's like, he's going to drop the mic. It's there. Bitches.
No.
I rub my feet on your fucking couch.
Rick James, bitch.
And yes, exactly like Bruce actually just said, is we're not going to run out of any music.
Or lyrics.
And that's the situation that we're living in, to where, when I got this offer to be here, it's like they actually had the room already here in their house. And so I'm living literally with Suzanne and Bruce. So it's like easy to where we go do our job and then come home and be like, hey, let's write. Cool. And that can happen any day of the week. We don't have to sit here and like be like, oh, sorry, man, I can't, it's like I have work or whatnot. No, it's literally, I'm upstairs.
There's no
downstairs,
excuse.
working in the studio. Exactly.
Unless
He's
you're
"Dude, I'm
fucking
stuck."
sick.
Yeah, it's like Bruce is like, I'm stuck. Cool. I hop my ass right on down the stairs, and here we go. We start, unstucking ourselves or unsticking ourselves, however you want to say.
So
it.
do you think that kind of like process and living situation can work for all bands, or do you feel like? And I'm just asking this objectively. Do you think it takes like a certain group of individuals to be able to kind of be in that kind of environment and realm? Because like for me, I'm married, right?
Have to like each other.
I don't know if I could just be like, hey, the rest of the band's going to be crashing here and we're going to be writing at all hours of the day.
You have to like each other.
Well, yeah.
I have fun doing it just for the fact of, okay, I'm the baby of the band age wise and the newcomer. I will say that. But it's the fact that they give me the liberty to where, I mean, literally Bruce's words out of his mouth, do not copy the album. I'm like, cool. So, I get to play Amethyst, closely to how it's, where the main accents are, but I also get to play it my own style. But it's also with, Bruce's confidence with me to where, he does a lot of the main songwriting, but he's also keeps the gates open for all of our ideas towards, his songs that he writes.
Okay.
And that's a huge thing with also, living here. He'd be like, he doesn't have to sit here and be like, hey, I'm going to send you this email, see what you can put to it, and then send it back because I don't live with him. No, I literally, he pounds on the bottom with his cane and, calls me downstairs or...
That I remember I used to do that at my parents' house. I would take the pool cue and I would hit the fucking ceiling. Be like, Ma, we need you down here. We need food.
Pizza rolls.
You do the same thing, but with like mixing and mastering and writing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a super fun environment, and I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't think I could find like a better group of people to actually write with and actually play the drums for, because I mean, it's like no paycheck is worth friendship or relationships you have with people.
For sure.
So it's like, going from $500 a week, $1,000 a week to actually doing the biggest thing I love. My biggest thing from high school was if I'm not playing drums, I'm working with them. If I'm not working with the drums, I'm playing with them.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing with me. It's like if I have a pair of sticks in my hand, I have my drum kit in front of me, I'm happy. Like,
see, I'm totally different. I'm totally different. If there was a nice paycheck, I'll play with the biggest bunch of losers that you can muster up. Because I'm a bass player, I'll take any damn gig I can get. I don't. If the paycheck's right, I am there.
Oh, you're so.
What are you
funny.
doing? What are you doing on internet radio, Rikki?
Well,
if the paycheck's there, I'll do it. We're failing epically.
The paycheck's obviously not there. All right, so MAGG DYLAN, awesome talk with Suzanne, Adam, and then a lot of cool things. We talked about Blue Ridge.
This was like basically a nuts and bolts for any up and coming band to listen to.
Of course, yeah. And we talked about touring. We talked about drummers flying in all the way from California to Virginia Beach, Virginia. You guys did your drum nerding out for a minute where I went upstairs and went pee because I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
I went and got a new soda.
Yeah, see, Suzanne knows what I'm talking about.
Me and Adam touched minds together.
You touch mental penises. It's a thing. So MAGG DYLAN, touring coming up in 2022. Going in, recording, no more, you're not booking anymore right now. You're focused on the new tunes. When are we thinking new singles are going to start dropping from you guys?
March.
Yeah, February, March. Because we go in pretty much second week in December as far as recording. And I mean, the biggest thing is, we have that show November 27th, but we're already kind of in pre-pro right now. Me and Bruce have a thing where we actually take a day where we have both off and actually go and pretty much rehearse the stuff. Because obviously, I don't know how, as far as like the knowledge you guys may have as far as like usually how recording works, the drums are always first. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if I'm not on point for them to record to, then we have nothing. We're going down there, we're wasting time, we're spending way too much money. So that's the thing that we're doing now is we're already in pre-pro 3, 4, 5 songs now, and so yeah, maybe looking at February and March.
All right, so
that all depends on the better we are prepared going down there, the faster it can come out.
All right, so you guys are going to put out, get these songs recorded, and I know Kevin wants to ask this. You guys going to cut music videos for all these? You're going to put them out, YouTube, do that whole thing, and then at some point put out an album? Like, what's your plan of attack with this new album you guys are working on?
It'll be an EP.
Okay. So music videos for the songs, the traditional, the thing, getting all that in.
I would say there are a couple ideas. I mean, for a couple of songs, if Suzanne already told you, is like a lot of our songs are actually life experiences. The stuff that's being written now are still life experiences. With our newest song Pawns is pretty much, talking about 2020. So these songs coming up is, reflecting back to, a little bit before that, but after it, because, us in the music industry, we lost a lot of friends, there were to suicide, to depression, to anxiety, alcoholism, drug addiction, because they couldn't do what they loved.
Right.
So, I know a lot of people that got divorced because, obviously they're used to touring, they had to go and get a 9-to-5 job or a warehouse job to make up for, not being able to tour. So that's good. That's kind of like one of the areas that we're going to focus on is, depression, anxiety, stuff like that, because 2020 hit a lot of people hard.
Mental health.
We were definitely one of them.
Definitely.
All right. So do you guys have anything else you want to throw out there to anybody that's listening now or who might be listening later on down the road? Anybody you want to shout out, all the traditional end of interview stuff? You guys have anything?
Go ahead, Suzanne.
I just like to shout out our loyal fans, man. They are awesome. And thank you guys for having us on. And Jonathan Sly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jonathan Sly. I feel bad for that guy.
I know, right? No, thank you guys for being a part of our show. We love interviewing bands, and especially bands that are very animated and like engaging in the interview, because there's nothing worse than like, oh, tell us about your band. And they're like, we're blah, blah, blah from Wichita.
Yeah.
How'd the band start? We were bored.
No, also give a shout out too, because there would be no MAGG DYLAN if it wasn't for James watching the dogs and my parents watching the dogs.
There you go.
All right, so we're gonna let you guys go. Thank you guys so much, and if you guys ever head back up to Detroit, let us know. Let us know. We'd like to come hang out with you guys and chop it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely would like to try and get these guys into the Diesel. The Diesel is actually a great venue.
That's right.
Rikki can make that happen.
I can make that happen. I do.
He basically bathes there.
I book shows there all the time.
And when I say bathe, in alcohol.
Yeah.
We'll talk, Rikki.
All right. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
All right. So that was
MAGG DYLAN.
MAGG DYLAN. Let me switch
Probably
back
one
over
of the
here.
most animated, fun interviews we've had.
That was definitely an interesting one. I wasn't thinking we were going to get the drummer talk. I didn't think we were going to get the drummer talk.
I had no manual intervention on that, so that worked out for me.
Yeah, you were like, ooh, we get to talk to drummer.
No, I mean, like, even talking to Suzanne, though, like, the whole vibe story of the band, like, the influences, it kind of hit home to me. Like, I was a huge Dave Matthews fan. I studied a bunch of different shit. Like, I don't know. It's very genuine, very cool. They seem like very down to earth, normal people. Like, even though you said, yeah, I hate people, like, they seem like the kind of people you could go on the tour with and just have a fucking blast.
Well, let me talk about that. I hate normal people.
No, I do too.
Musicians, I
I
can talk, that's why I do this show,
Right.
Is to talk to musicians and people in the music, because I'm in the same wavelength as them, but like
basically
Drunk Tom.
Steph, right?
Yeah.
When you were like, hey, is she gonna come to Blue Ridge? I was like, that's too many fucking terrible people to be around.
Yeah.
And it's honestly the truth. People are genuinely disgusting. Doesn't mean I don't like or hate people. I just hate being around a lot of people that suck.
Like if Blue Ridge for me was okay, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna hang out with a bunch of musicians, and we're gonna go up and play and go hang out with more musicians. I'd be like, okay, this is totally cool for me. I love it.
Right.
You know, but if it's we're gonna play Blue Ridge and okay, you fucker, you got to go out there with the peons and hang out with them. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to.
This ain't Rikki Ridge Festival.
Ew, I don't know about that. So yeah, I like talking to musicians. That's why I do this. If I didn't like talking to musicians, I wouldn't do the show because obviously, like we point out during the interview,
right?
Not getting paid to do this. I
do
it because it's what I've been doing for 15, 20 years is supporting independent bands. So. What were some other takeaways you got from that one?
Just the fact they kind of started and they came up very quickly, kind of like Harlow. Mm-hmm. You know, no, it's nice to see that.
Plug.
No, I just
new album coming soon.
Shut up. You never like to be a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
and getting that kind of like quick success can kind of like almost make you a little jaded. Maybe like. Turn the band down a path maybe they shouldn't, but like for them it just seemed like it invigorated them more to fire on all cylinders.
Yeah, you know, they got that initial, you know, big hit and then they just kind of built on that.
Right. And I mean that's how it should operate. And like some bands it might take a little bit longer, but when you get that boost right out the gate, it's nice. And you know, it seems like they've harnessed it and they've just been like riding that wave, not in a bad way.
And they didn't, you know, we didn't hear anything about them, you know, out of the gate. Oh, we played a whole bunch of shitty shows,
right.
And it did this, and it was horrible.
I even asked them at one point. I said, "So you guys basically just open for all nationals?" She said, "No, you know, we've got some shows where we're playing with our buddies." So it sounds like they're getting all the opportunities you would want, and they're
taking advantage of those opportunities.
They're being
building
selective.
on
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything right.
Yeah,
that's basically the gist of it.
You know, it takes a huge band to play after Casting Shadows at Blue Ridge. It takes a certain stature of a band.
We warmed the stage up for them.
You know, so it was totally cool. You know, and like I said, you know, that was MAGG DYLAN is a band that I stumbled on because of Blue Ridge.
We actually saw quite a few bands at Blue Ridge, whether we saw them or we listened to them. And I think they did a pretty damn good job of picking some solid bands. Like for the like side stages.
I wish I would have asked her because I remember when MAGG DYLAN was playing, they were playing a cover of something. I believe it was Alanis Morissette. Because I heard him play a cover.
I vaguely remember turning around and going, "Is that fucking Alanis Morissette?"
Because I believe it was an Alanis Morissette song. I was standing in line for my pizza in my hour-and-a-half line.
I'm pretty sure I was out by you. At some point,
you were at the merch booth.
No, but I
area.
remember at some point I said, "Did I hear Alanis Morissette?"
I think that.
And everyone was like, "No, you're fucking crazy."
And it's like I heard it, and I'm like, "Holy shit, she's fucking killing it!" And then I saw the pictures afterwards of their set, and Suzanne was like going fucking bonkers. You know, she's at the barricades and shit like this, mic in the air and all that. I'm like, man, I miss being in a band with a front man that can do that. But super cool, you know. MAGG DYLAN is a phenomenal band. Like I said during the interview, when I found out about them and they were playing Blue Ridge right after us, I went into the YouTube cavalcade and was listening to their stuff. I'm like, man, this is a fucking killer band. You know, they're fucking awesome.
Their sound's really good.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. So, you know, it took a couple weeks of me talking to Suzanne on Facebook to hook this thing up, but we finally got it, and we got a twofer. We got 2 interviews.
Hell yeah.
So super cool. Next week on the show, we will not be here next week because it's Halloween and I have kids. So that's a thing.
All right.
It's a thing. So you got next week off, Kev.
Awesome.
And
you're not going to guilt trip me this time.
No, I'm not going to guilt trip you this time. So next week, because I have kids, I got to go do the trick-or-treating thing. So next week there will be no show, but we'll be back November 7th for episode number 121. I have no idea who we're going to have on. I got to work on that on the week off.
I think I might have an idea.
All right. Well,
I'll work on that.
You have the spreadsheet. So we're going to close this thing out with, I think we're going to play the music video for it because it just came out and I did download it. The music video for Black Swan Dive Bomb.
Oh.
I did download it because I was like, oh, maybe I'll play
Let's go out with a twofer.
All right. You want to do a twofer?
Do that in Heartsick.
Okay, hold on. Give me a minute. I got to enter all this stuff in. Okay.
Oh, Rikki.
So what do you have going on for Halloween? I know that's a big thing for stuff.
She loves the holiday, but we ain't handing out no candy and shit. We're probably just gonna be chilling out, smoking and drinking, and watching fucking Archer or Bob's Burgers.
Jesus. All right. So what did you want to hear? You wanted to hear Heartsick?
Yeah.
They just went out on tour with Comba Christ,
and it's getting extended.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So apparently they were only supposed to go out for I think like a month or two.
Yeah.
And now they're like added onto a second leg. So good for those guys. They've been fucking killing it too.
All right. So I got 2 songs of them: Shadow and Love Letter.
Let's do Love Letter.
All right. Love Letter by Heartsick, I guess, extended their Comba Christ tour. And Alfonso, good friend of ours, we've talked to him on the show plenty of times. Make sure you hit him up on Facebook. He always drops the
knowledge bombs.
The knowledge bombs for anybody out there who's a musician or interested in all that. So we're going to play Love Letter by Heartsick, and then we will close it out with the music video from Black Swan Dive Bomb and their music video that just came out on Friday for Back for More. We talked to Dakota last week about that, and he didn't give me a sneak peek at the video, so I couldn't play it during the interview. I don't have that much carte blanche yet. So we're going to play Love Letter by Heartsick and Back for More by Black. I had it all lined up.
You nailed it all night until now.
Black Swan Dive Bomb. And yeah, you guys have a great Halloween. We will not be on here. I'll throw up a vintage episode on the YouTube just so you guys have something new to listen to back from the Facebook days. I'll throw that up, and we'll be back November 7th.
Hell yeah.
All right, Raz, take it easy. Maybe I'll see you at practice, or maybe I'll just stop showing up so you guys can just write songs and be productive.
There we go.
All right. This has been episode number 120 of the Rikki Rock Show right here on Roxx 100.com.
All right.
I've been lost when I was young. Always there to hold me up.
I'm not trying to sit out here in the heat with y'all all day. All right, inmates, get your tools. I have no patience for this. I already told you. What are you, stuck? All right. I don't see you working. You said you should rest. You think this is a joke? Department of Corrections has you 15 years. You better get used to this.
You're selling me out, then breaking me down. There is no cure for your disease. Toss me out like a beat-down maid. Drain my brain and you're smiling. There is no cure for your disease. Your disease. What are you hoping? Hear the sound. Battle drums. What are you hoping? Ring the bell. Another round. Knocked down, left for dead on the side of the road, living with regret. I'm broke, bruised, battered and scarred. Broken, bruised, but I'm back for more. Pretending that you're just like me. Take pleasure in suffering. Look on your face says everything. No sound of a primary. Slowly watching people bleed. Look on your face says everything. Everything. What are you hoping? Hear the sound. Battle drums. What are you hoping? Ring the bell. Another round. Knocked down, left for dead on the side of the road, living with regret. I'm broke, bruised, battered and scarred. Broken, bruised, but I'm back for more. Been knocked down, beat down, knocked down, beat, and I'm back for more. Been knocked down, beat down, knocked down, beat, and I'm back for more. Knocked down, left for dead on the side of the road, living with regret. I'm broke, bruised, battered and scarred. Broken, bruised, and I'm back for more. Been knocked down, left for dead on the side of the road, living with regret. I'm broke, bruised, battered and scarred. Broken, bruised, and I'm back for more. Back for more. Back for more. Back for more. Been broken, bruised, and I'm back for more.
Rikki rocks. It's Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. It's Rikki rocks. Coming out of the box. Bitches come in flocks. Trying to steal his jocks. He needs to be contained with padded rocks. It's the Rikki Rock Show spreading like the pox. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Yeah. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Rikki rocks. Yeah. Rikki rocks up in your grill, motherfucker.
Hey, this is Rikki Roxx, and you are listening to Roxx 100.com.